Okay, welcome gang. This is episode 65, I think it is. Yeah, just a bit more of a professional start this time, so I could just test to make sure that everything's actually working. All the green lights are on. My audio levels are on. So rather than sort of switch across to just double check everything after I get started, I thought I'd just start with the screen. I've had that screen for a long time actually, but I just haven't actually used it. I'm not very professional with this type of thing. Also, I have been trying to tweak the colours a little bit so I don't come up bright red in the videos anymore. But anyway, I'll see how the other one goes. Hi William, hi Tenru, hi Battle Mode. How you guys going? So anyway, I don't know what we're going to talk about today. The only thing I've got prepared really, which I've been playing this week, has been the coming Master of Magic DLC, and it's really cool. Hi Paul and Zarks and Quiet Sprinch and Viren Games and Maladroit and CB. Yeah, welcome guys. So Battlemode, thanks for all the great content lately. Yeah, Battlemode's been putting out a lot of Gal Civ 4 Supernova content actually. I've got some starting this week as well, so I think it'll be this week. So there's great game actually. It's funny because like Battle Mode and I tend to chat a fair bit during the week, just to sort of like just through Discord and stuff. And yeah, he's advocated Gal Civ 4 as being something really quite special for quite some long time. And I've really the more I play it, the more I can. It really is a work of art. So yeah, loving it, absolutely loving it. Sean is saying afternoon Daz and chat, and start with Shadow Empire and the truckload of changes, says Tenerife. That's a good idea. Why not do that? And we'll just point out the marble run again. I've got no keys to give away today, so it's just going to be for bragging rights yet again. So that's 2 weeks in a row. I don't like asking specifically for them, but I often get offered them. I just haven't been offered any keys for a while. So anyway, we'll see what we end up with over the coming weeks. Stronghold remake looks promising, so the demo is out, says Zarks. God, that's been a checkered history. The whole Stronghold series. It's one of those games that was so good when they first launched and then got so bad. So Battle Mode saying it's getting a cheers, Daz. Much appreciated for the shout out. No, it's very good actually. The content that Battle Mode's been doing for Stardock as well as for his own channel. It's worth watching. So yeah, I've been sort of. Just when I've been having lunch, I've been watching the videos. Anyway, guys, let's just get into into what we're doing. Actually, now I'm going to have to. No, there we go. We'll just go to the Steam page. Let's start with Shadow Empire, I guess, because there are a lot of changes in there. Now, is it best to start it in game or combination of the both? I'm just trying to think of the best way to do this one. There is a lot of changes, but it's hard to digest them. Let's just go back across. So Shadow Empire. I think that Vic has been away on holidays. The developer has been away on holidays for a little while, and has just come back recently. And he tends to have a big injection of ideas and things that he sort of thought through while he's been away. Whenever he does come back. So we'll just go to the community hub. I generally go to the actual matrix page for this, but I'm pretty sure that this has also been updated in here as well. So, K3 has been released. That was it says the 14th of August in there, but it's 15th for me. But that means it was today. So K2 had come out yesterday, I think it was, and so K3 has now just come in. That'll just be little fixes. So what do we have in here? So basically, the way that these work, as far as the text is concerned, is that the top bit is always the same, and then they just keep on pasting in the change log for each actual version. So you just literally go into whichever version you're wanting. So you can see there, this is #188 is the actual build. So it's still the K build that we're looking at through here. Before that, the J build. I'm not sure when the J build came out. This was a few weeks ago. The changes do come pretty thick and fast. Hi Brad, how you going? And so where are we? So check it indeed. Put me off for years. I'm not sure what that was referring to. Sorry, I'm quite tired. I woke up super early today. And I've been up for hours and hours, and it's only like 3 a.m. So I'm actually going to be a little bit groggy. I'm probably not going to follow the chat as poorly as I normally do. It's going to be even worse. So Sarks is saying, almost fell out of my chair when I saw that Slytherin is streaming Shadow Empire, and it's not you, Daz. Yeah, look, it's what they do is. I don't know. I don't know if the other guys play it as much as what I do. The other regular streamers that sort of stream on the Slytherin channel, but and I'm not sure. I think that there are a couple of them that play it a fair bit as well. But what they try to actually do with the games is they try to get people who aren't like who play it sort of different ways. So they try to sort of spread it around, which is pretty cool. Like it's sort of and I've got like I'm not streaming at all this week. I don't think. I think I'm on next week, but that's because of another thing we'll talk about, which came out actually during the week. We like to talk about the changes coming to Distant Worlds 2. So I'll be doing a lot of Distant Worlds 2 streams in the coming weeks for Slytherin, which will be fun. I'm really looking forward to that. Actually, that game is just getting better and better as well. So, hi Thomas, how are you going? Yeah, but I'm pretty sure I'm not on any streaming schedule for this week. I'm usually on Friday for the rest of the world and Saturday morning for myself. But I'm pretty sure I'm not actually down for anything this week. Okay, so K is really what we're looking at through here. I won't go through. I'm just trying to think of what the main points actually are. So, add extended mine stratagem to the Economic Council. That doesn't sound all that exciting. It probably is, but it doesn't sound like small fixes, fix crashes. This is interesting. I always find these little things quite interesting. Fix the pH modified for alkaline water / rain. High pH is now greater than 8.5. It's just, this is the level of detail that he's got as he is like with his planet building in the actual game itself. It's really, really quite cool. So it's just little things like this actually make a difference. So if that's alkaline water or rain, what is that going to mean? It's going to mean that the water quality will go down, which means that your civilizations will then have a harder time with water, even on water planets, if the pH is now too high. So it's the roll-on stuff. It's reading between the lines, which is quite interesting. Now this is interesting as well. Ammo compaction tech plus lightweight ammo tech allows models to carry more ammo, and plus 50% non-cumulative. So in case of air models, the ammo compaction tech does not work, but lightweight ammo tech will halve the weight imposed by rockets, missiles, bomb hatch, and precision bombs. That's the important one. That's going to be good actually. How's it going to work? It's sort of funny because food is actually the main limiting factor, I find. Not so much ammo, but ammo itself that runs out. So we've got the hyper-explosive ammo tech, and actinide tipped ammo tech gives better attacks against soft and hard. For ammo-based non-air weapons, plus 50% for each. An ultra-capacitor tech doubles power bank storage and negates battery self-discharge loss. Okay, so this is all new tech that must be in the game. Troops, not power banks or zone / SHQ inventory lose 10% of their ideal energy storage at start of turn before production because of battery self-discharge. So troops, not power banks. I'm not sure what that is referring to be honest. This can be countered with the ultra capacity tech, and GR models don't discharge. Troops. I'm guessing it's electrical troops. Troops I always think of as soldiers. I don't think of them as just the military. So units would probably, maybe that's supposed to mean units, because I know that you do actually have different types of energy type units, and particularly energy weapons. So yeah, I'm not sure. Low air pressure, so under 1,000 millibars, so under 1 bar, hang on. Low air pressure under 1 bar increases projectile velocity for non-range weapons, but included anti-aircraft range weapons, more damage. Reverse effects exist also, but is less pronounced. So rule only affects aircraft, but only for air-to-air combat. This makes anti-aircraft stronger on low air pressure worlds. That's interesting. I mean, it's funny because anything under 1 bar, well, depending on the bar, like if you convert it sort of from millibar into bars and then look at the gravity of the actual world itself, if the bar level is higher than the gravity percentage, it means that it's viable for aircraft, and if it's under, then it's not. And so to actually have on small worlds, even when the bars are higher than the gravity, then it does mean that you can probably end up with a low what is it? A low barometric pressure, low air pressure, but still actually have very, very viable aircraft. So that could be interesting on small worlds. Again, just the flow of everything is just really quite interesting. Then we're saying units with energy weapons lose energy per turn. Oh, okay, yep, I'm with you. Yep, okay. So there's just a natural drain from the actual energy weapons. That's a much nicer way of putting it. Thanks there, Tenru. Okay, so we've got low gravity increases range for artillery. So this is, again, this sort of works in with the pressure and the gravity. Again, there's just these little changes that Vic makes really is quite amazing. So, he's trying to get it as like more and more realistic. Reverse can be a case, but it should also be rare to have worlds now with greater than 1050 millibars. Why bars there? Low gravity increases range for artillery. Weapons reverse can be the case here, but should be rare to have worlds with greater than 1050 millibars. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I mean, you look at the barometric pressure of, for example, Venus. I forget what it is. It's like 70 bar, I think. Like, it's just dramatically high. I mean, we can test my knowledge. We'll do that. We'll do it. We'll do a Google search on Venus and look at the. That's NASA. We don't trust anything NASA says. I mean, the moon landings weren't real or anything like that. So. Now it's got the densest atmosphere of all the rocky bodies in the solar system. Only one with mass and size that is close. I mean, Venus would be way too hot. Now, what is the actual pressure? Where is the pressure? I thought it would actually be in this little summary through here. Volume, mass. There's the gravity. So it's 0.9 G. Come on, where are you? Surface pressure, there we go. 92 atmospheres, not 70. 92 bar, basically. Yeah, 93 bar there, 93 bar. So that's an awful lot. Suppose I said Wikipedia is greater than NASA. What is this propaganda? No, NASA's great, but I know that Wikipedia's got all this on the side here. It's sort of funny. It's funny, like I've got an idea for which I might as well talk about. I've got an idea for, like, I'm thinking of putting out another second little channel somewhere to sort of start to sort of go through stupid ideas. And one of the ideas, like, it's funny because in Australia we don't see the man in the moon at all, and we see a rabbit in the moon. And just things like that. It's really quite funny because we're in the southern hemisphere. And I didn't really think much about it until about a month or so back. I was on my bike running to the beach, and I was thinking, why do we see the rabbit and we don't see a face in the moon at all? And it's because we're about 90 degrees away around from where everyone else is. And when you tilt your head 90 degrees and actually have a look at the moon from the southern hemisphere, we don't see you can then make out the face, but we don't see that face. We only see the rabbit. Which is just funny anyway. Just thought I'd just I was thinking of making a little channel just to talk about that sort of shit. But I don't know. I was just I only thought of that, making a channel of that yesterday, because it's just funny. It's just weird little stuff that you don't think about. Like, if you ask anyone in Australia, do you see a man in the moon or a rabbit in the moon? The answer is always, it's just a rabbit. You see a rabbit in the moon. You don't see a man in the moon. Anyway, we're off on another tangent here, so I'll just read a few more of the comments. Hi, Tarank, how you going? And hi, Jerry, as well. So asking, how hot does it get? It gets very hot, like extremely. What is it? It's about 400 degrees Celsius, I think, or even more. Actually, where is it? Yeah, 464 Celsius. Nearly 900 Fahrenheit. I mean, that's unbelievably hot. So hotter than anything in stellar empires. I know it's Shadow Empires, not stellar empires. Okay, so CB is saying, has the Shadow Empire open beta fixed the password issue? Some having reported with the latest. I don't know, actually, sorry. I'll have it. We're only partway through the list. So Zark's saying, don't remember the rabbit from my time in Oz. I will show you guys, because it is distinctly a rabbit. Believe me, I'm speaking the truth here. Moonrise. You see it. It's mainly on the moonrise that you sort of would then end up getting this. So if we have a look at the images now, I'll have a look for Australia. So when you look at the Northern Hemisphere, like this is like I'll just bring that image up, and I'll find Australia. Now, can you see the rabbit in this one? It's distinctly a rabbit, whereas in the Northern Hemisphere, it's a bit hard to sort of see that one. Actually, there's one there. It's distinctly eyes, nose, mouth. It's distinctly there's the nose there, the eyes, there's the face. But in the Southern Hemisphere, it is distinctly a rabbit. There you go. You've all learned something. So I think I do need to make this other channel just to impart this important information on. But that's what we see. We see this. We don't see the face at all. Like for us, it's the rabbit. And it's funny. I did look this up the other day, because it actually the different cultures see different men in the moon. As again, the Southern Hemisphere does see the rabbit, but the Northern Hemisphere sees a guy carrying a whole lot of sticks. There's a whole lot of them anyway. But anyway, for us, that's the rabbit. So Taranka's saying, well, as I see a rabbit every day, I know now how to see a rabbit. So Paul is saying, I'm in Australia and I never noticed. Looks like a blob. It looks like a blob, but if you had to say, is it a man in the moon, or if you looked at that, because I always used to look at it and think, well, where's the man in the moon? I can see a rabbit in the moon, but I can't see a man in the moon. I used to often, even as a kid, used to be thinking, why is there, where's the face? I'm just not seeing it, because normally I'm pretty good at spotting those sort of things. But then it was only just recently I thought, oh shit, we're tilted 90 degrees or more away from the rest of the world, the Northern Hemisphere anyway. Anyway, that's another little side light. Little diversion there, but yeah. So the barometric pressure here, like the 93 bar, so that doesn't read right. That doesn't read right when we look at this. It should be rare to have worlds with greater than 1 bar. Basically, that doesn't seem right at all. Anyway, I'm not sure why that's been written in there. Initial militia forces plus minus troop types have also been affected with the new low air pressure rule. Geotechnics, tech added, it makes it cheaper to construct road rail over difficult landscapes / river crossings. Okay, it makes it cheaper to so, okay, that's another tech. So new tech in there. That's actually good. That's actually really cool. That's interesting, actually. What about mountains, though? For difficult landscapes and river crossings. Yeah, that would have to be for mountains as well. Okay, that's going to really open up the game beautifully, like in there. So Massless is saying, aren't you 180 degrees? No, well, I guess technically from Europe, but just in terms of the moon rise, when it comes up, basically we are tilted 180 degrees. And it's funny because since I thought about it, I started asking people whether they see the rabbit, like what shape do they see in the moon, and it's pretty consistently in Australia that it's actually the rabbit that people see. Anyway, a bit of trivia there for you. Yeah, mountains should be included. It does say difficult terrain, so that's actually pretty cool. Mines tech has been added, so it gives extra plus 75 attack points the first time unit counter attacks against any non-ranged, non-backbench, sort of land theatre troops. So that's cool. So that's interesting as well. So they get gives extra plus 75 attack points for first time unit counter attacks against and by non-ranged troops. Photonic mines tech added, so improves upon mines and gives maximum plus 150 plus 20% of hit points of defender in attack points instead of plus 75 for regular mines. First time unit counterattacks. So it's the counterattack aspect that is the important one there. That's very interesting. I wonder how that's actually applied. That would be really, really quite cool. So we've got the Echo Trace Spike hit, Chameleon Camo. So they obtain hide points. That's interesting. So you're getting more stealth. Yep, so this is how this is most effective by the smallest troop type, like infantry. Again, this is going to make the jungle worlds much more fun to play on, I guess. Resonance scanners, the tech added, so short for thermal resonance scanner. Basically, same effect as advanced scanners. Yeah, a black coating can be worn from padded envirosuit up and any vehicle armor. Okay, so that's interesting. So that's a different, that sort of comes into the, I don't know where that fits. We might have a look and open this up, actually. We've got micro-nuke firepower, turned down from, I don't really tend to use nukes anyway. So we've got nuclear grenades. So the downgrades are functioning now, but we're doing it too quickly. Rules now adhere to what the manual states, which I can't remember what that actually does say. Let's actually start her up and have a quick look. Unless you guys have got any more questions about the man in the moon before we go. So we've got mountains should be included. Massless is saying also Australian moonrise equals European moon set. It is, but the reason I'm picking on moonrise is that's when people look at the moon the most. And I know that my wife and I, for example, on the big full moons, we actually like to get in the beach and just watch it come up over the water. It actually looks great. So you tend to be looking at the moon most when it's rising. So I know that it's like 12 hours away or 10 hours away from Europe, essentially from where we are. But it's if it's rise versus rise, because it'll be sort of switched around a little bit by the time it's then setting. Okay, so if the moon face is seen on rise in Europe, then it should be on set in Australia. It's 180 degrees, but you don't tend to look at it. Like, I know that often the moon is setting when I go to the beach in the morning, but I don't tend to be looking at it much in the sense of appreciating what's actually there. They do just become blobs at that point, because it's still the rabbit being up the way. It's not 90 degrees around, it's actually 180 degrees around, so it's still just then blobs. And I guess you get so used to seeing the moonrise aspect of the moon that it would be upside down by the time it goes back down. It's funny, I got a friend of mine who actually thought, I'm not going to name him, but he thought that the moon cycle, and he's like older than I am, he thought the moon cycle went from new moon all the way around to full moon, and then the next day it was new moon again. I had to explain to him how physics actually works, and that that's not the way that the moon actually does work. By the way, if anyone does think that, then my apologies for laughing at you. But I did find that hilariously funny when he did tell me that, when he just had no idea that he thought the next day after a full moon was a new moon. Anyway. So let's open up the game. It's downloaded the content. This shouldn't take too long, I don't think. Yeah, it's funny when people don't consider things. It's just interesting people's perspective on stuff. I actually really like watching flat Earth videos because of their view on how things actually work. Is really, really quite interesting. Like, just to sort of, and just from almost from an educational point of view, as to how they try to explain something that's, inexplicable to a degree. It's actually really quite interesting. But anyway, that's just me. I do like those sort of things. God, this is taking forever. Maybe I shouldn't have done this. So Massless is saying, Dad, speaking of moons, didn't you guys get a blood moon not too long ago? Yeah, I think it was the last full moon. I don't remember reading anything about it, because quite often we'll hear about it on the news or something. But it did look very, very big and different. Just the like it seemed that it was just this month actually, from what I can vaguely remember. This was saying Earth is not flat, just Earth is bumpy. Yeah, flat Earth is a special breed, says Masterlith. I don't know if I told you guys, but I did troll my wife about flat Earth because I love watching their videos. So I was watching these videos just over time, and she used to get really pissed off with me watching these, flat Earth videos. And anyway, my daughter, who lives in Melbourne, was coming up to visit us, and so she came up, and I worded her up and said, "Oh, look, when you get here, if Mum has a bit of a bitch about me watching flat Earth videos, play along." Anyway, so so she was sitting. We were all sitting together, and I just had them playing because I was setting it up, and anyway, my wife then came in and sort of said to my daughter, she said, "Oh, God, your dad's just watching all these stupid flat Earth videos all the time," and all my daughter said was, "Well, they do have, there's something in it, like that's all she said was just there's something in it." And then we just went on and spoke about other things, and so none of us said anything at all. And about 3 days later, after she'd gone, my wife sort of said, "I'm a bit worried about Olivia," and anyway, it was just funny. It was. Yeah, so we then sort of let it go for a little bit longer before we told her that it was just all a bit of a troll. Anyway, we'll start a new game. Yeah, so anyway, from that, I think it was the next birthday or something, my wife then got me a flat Earth shirt. So I've actually got a flat Earth shirt that I do wear it a bit actually. It's sort of funny. It's that was good. Yeah, Basilon is then saying we're in the back of a cosmic tortoise. Would be cool. Right, let's just go with unclassified. In this case, just go continue. Just go with, I shall just go with this one in through here. I'm not sure if it's going to show well actually the gravity is too low in here anyway, so the barometric pressure. Actually that's interesting. Heavy elements has now been added in to the planetology. That wasn't there before. That's interesting actually. That'll allow you to sort of pick and choose what you're doing through this other side. Yeah, we've got higher barometric pressure than gravity. Nitrogen with a little bit of oxygen. Wow, very, very small population on this one. Okay, so we'll start the game and let's have a quick look at the tech tree. Okay, just get rid of those. Okay, so if we just go back into the management screen and just go to text. So there's another whole area been added into basic text. Yeah, ammunitions factory. So so you need the Economic Council to discover this tech. This tech allows building the ammunitions factories. These factories can produce ammunitions more economically than our artisan workshop. That's just really cool, actually. That's great. That was definitely needed. Barracks is new. Is it? It's oh no, that's sorry. No, the barracks was always there, wasn't it? Sealed roads, physical storage, high velocity guns. Pattern virus suit. Has there other things have been added in here, or is that just the only one? I only ever remember that just being 2 wide, not 3 wide. What else have we got? Helicopter, turboprop, combat armor. So there's no, that other armor must be added on top of it, I'm guessing. So we've got the applied chemistry, armor piercing optimization. So it said a lot of these were military. We've got missiles back over there with advanced chemistry. Polymer armor we've already had. Lightweight ammo. That's a new one. Back across this side. Advanced sensors. There's mines. Okay, so mines are in fairly early. Extreme vehicles. There's the black coating. Okay, but under automation. Battle dress, I think, was always there from memory. Heavy battle dress. I don't know if that was there. Liquid armor. Robotic soldiers. Was that there? I don't remember that being there either, actually. Robotics, but I never ever get down this far, ever. Beam guns. Actually, where is the one where you can actually start to go through the extended mining? So it's going to be a standard one, I would guess. I've thought it would have been over in here. Machinery. You know, the one where you can sort of walk your way through a little bit. This is one of these applied engineering ones. There's mining techniques. I'm not sure where the other one is. Actually, is there? Anyway, that's interesting. It's getting more and more fleshed out, actually, which is quite cool. Now the early text, that's 5. There's an extra one in the early text now that you get, because it used to only be 9. So there's something. It's actually truck logistics potentially. Is that it? That may be a new one as well, I think. I think that one came in the previous one. There's the tipped ammunition, but I'm not seeing the one where you can actually make driving around. Oh, geotechnics. There it is. Wow, that's nice and early. Okay, that's really cool, actually. So this is, produces IP and metal cost for expensive railroad construction, hexes like mountains. Yeah, okay, that's very, very good. That's sort of making the Economic Council more valuable, isn't it? It's that's really quite nice. So there we go. So Mass was saying the Earth is actually a torus. The Thor isn't saying anyone playing anything but Baldur's Gate 3 this week. I haven't got it. I'm interested because it looks so damn good, but I know that if I start playing it, I won't play anything else. So I'm sort of not going to get it. Messless is saying DRG. I'm not sure what that is. Age of Empires 2 and Spirit Island. I don't know what Spirit Island it is either. Paul Sallo's saying been playing Xenonauts 2, Battle Sector, and Victoria 3 lately. We'll get Baldur's Gate 3 eventually. Battle Sector's really improved, actually. That's a great game now. Thor Nelman's saying I will not play anything but BG3 until I'm done. And guys, and saying the Distant Worlds 2 new DLC video on Twitch was quite interesting. It really was, actually. We should cover that a little bit. Now let's quit out of this one. So we've now done. We'll quit that one out. I did actually put in the title about Master of Magic, so maybe we'll just quickly go and have a quick look at what Master of Magic is bringing. And I've been playing that a lot this week. Actually, I'll do it on the bigger one. So we'll just go back in, and we can then talk about what it actually does bring. It's hard to get information with this Master of Magic, actually, which has sort of been interesting. But I've been really, really interested in what's going on. This is interesting as well. Like all reviews, it's this one here, 72, and then down to 50% for recent reviews. So it's only had 10 user reviews recently, but that's a big change between the 72% and then the 50%. It certainly is worth more than what either of those are, to be honest. It's actually a very, very cool game. So so as I say, I've been playing the new DLC, which is Rise of the Soul Trap. Let's just go across to that. And I find that this is not. I don't know why they've gone a Game of Thrones look to it. It makes no sense. Yeah, I don't get that. Yeah, it's very, very strange. Very strange video to actually have for it, to be honest. Anyway, this is the Soul Trapped. This is a really good faction. Actually, it's really, really interesting. It's got some very definite strengths and weaknesses. So it's very, very poor initially in the early part of the game. Yet it does actually have very high it's got very high defense but very low resistance, because they're sort of mechanical cyborg units, like all the actual units that you end up having. So it takes a while to actually sort of build up anything strong enough to really be able to do much. I'll just move that one out of the way. So I will be putting a video out about this one, because it is worth it is definitely worth having a look at. And there's other things that they've changed. I might actually show you in game rather than showing you through that. I can do it better from in game. Okay, so Massless saying Spirit Island is a co-op turn-based anti-Catan. It's on Steam, but also we also have it in board game form. I love Catan. I'm going to jot that one down. My list of names. I probably did write it down, actually. The name sounds familiar. So, Spirit Island. I don't know if it's can be played single player or not as well, but that would be good. All right, let's go and play it. And there we go. Massa's saying, okay, DRG is Deep Rock Galactic, a first-person mission base. Yeah, I've got it. I've played it a little bit, but I haven't played much of it. So it's sort of yeah, that's another game that I have sort of put on the back burner. Probably never really get a chance to come back to it, I guess. Oh, there we go. The metal source filtration is one tier lower than what I was looking at before. Sorry, guys, I did miss that one. So Tenor is saying, if you have an old save, yeah, too late. Anyway, we've gone beyond that one. Serge is saying, what's your opinion on SpellForce Conquest of Eo? Yeah, okay, let's talk about that as well, because that's again got some really good game mechanics. The only thing I don't like about that is that you're playing in a hard set map. I would love to see Conquest of Eo done as a random map. That would be so good. It's the mechanics in Conquest of Eo is really, really cool. But it's funny because it's a SpellForce component that makes it have to play on an actual preset map. Anyway, the thing that's interesting here is you've got, like, Through the Mirror is a free add-on that you get, that came out a few months ago with the Goblin race that got added to it. The free add-ons in through here, though, this is enable or disable the additional content added with various free updates. The free add-ons may include various additional content like extra setting options or even free wizards. And some of the content includes population growth settings, increased distance needed to build towns, and these are really, really quite cool. So I've enjoyed playing with these. One thing I've actually found, though, and I'm in turn 130, if I load the game I'm playing, 133, so if I load this one in, this is what I've been playing on Twitch for the last few days. Just reduce the sound a little bit. If it might be too loud for you guys, I'll just bring it down slightly. So I'm turning 133 into the actual game itself, and so this is playing with with all of those things ticked on. And in through here, you can see there that you can no longer settle, like I've got it turned to a distance of 5 between the actual between the cities, which means that you're ending up getting like a gap, which has actually been quite cool. You've got to then plan around what you can get access to, so there's always going to be at least a bit of a gap in between the various cities. So this is fairly advanced into the game at this point in time, but still sort of building up the initial armies. And so yeah, so that's been really, really quite good. But the weirdest thing with this one is, at turn 133, I haven't been offered a hero yet, and that's really, really unusual. So, and there's no spell for that either, and I think it may be the additional content has nerfed the heroes. If you ever even a look at the diplomacy in through here, have a look at any of these guys. The heroes, I don't think we can see actually the heroes, but when I do come across their various heroes, this one's got 2 heroes. They're leveling up, but they're not of high level. So everyone else has got multiple heroes. I've got 0, which is a problem. But then the others don't have heaps and heaps of heroes, and so this late in the game does seem sort of strange to not actually have heroes. So I'm wondering if that's been tweaked, but I can't find any information about that one. Yeah, which is sort of weird. But the game overall is really, really quite interesting. Like there's the actual sorts of units that you get. Like if we go into this particular location in here, for example, we're building what's called a soul cannon, which is a extremely powerful ranged unit, but you need to actually have at least one power node in the actual city area to be able to then go and build it. So I'm going to be sort of building this one. This is the one location that I could actually go and do this one. Sorry, I'll just go and close back out. But the range of units, if we go back into the capital as an example, go to build. So the scope of the units that you actually have is quite interesting as well. Like, you know, you've got like even in comparison to other factions, I think that their basic spearmen come in with an armor of around about 3 or maybe 4, so it's pretty low. Resistance is usually a bit higher though for the others, but this is very, very high armor right from the start. So the spearmen are actually really quite valuable. Like, these are quite good. Engineers are just engineers. The soul traps, sword bots, so these are again very high armor. So these are cyborg type units. The halberdiers, I haven't bothered with these. Like, you do get you can negate a first strike, but they don't really sort of seem like the armor is great, but the resistance is terrible. So it makes them poor against certain other sorts of attacks. So they're quite squishy, and I found that in the battles, depending on what I'm fighting, these are not great in some of the fights. They're great in some, but not others. Cavalry does have the first strike with cavalry, but again, it's just got the high armor, low resistance. So it's interesting actually to sort of play with it. There's your tech priests. You've got this yeet, which is I'd never heard the term before, but it throws things. So it's sort of like it's like a fairly big ranged unit, but it is quite interesting. Very expensive though, so I haven't bothered getting any of these. The Soul Cannon is the one that looks to be our best range unit if we can sort of pick those sorts of locations. Again, fairly high upkeep, but the range attack is very, very high. The ammo is 6, but then there's another spell you can get playing as the tech mages where you can actually then go and increase the ammo even further. So it's a really, really interesting one. And then the Soulless, this one seems to be really, really interesting as well, but in reality it doesn't fight as well as you think. And I think it's just because there's only the one unit. 15 hit points, really high armor, really high resistance. It does have 4 ammo with a ranged attack, which does 10 damage. And it just has melee as well. So what I've been doing is I've been building these units back over here. Oops, where is it? Hang on. Back over here. So we've got Mithril over this other side. So if we just press tab, so we've actually got Mithril ore in through that side, which then allows us to build. If we've got certain buildings, actually, which one is it? The Armourers Guild. It should be the Alchemist Guild somewhere. There's the Sages Guild, Alchemist Guild. Once you have this one, if you've got Mithril or Adamantine, you can then build like special units. And so in this case, I'm able to then sort of build Mithril powered units. So I've just got a stack of these Soulless that are coming out through here. They do take a fairly long time to build. So they're coming through with Mithril weapons. So this is one of them on its way to join up with the rest of the army. And so this one here has got, this is what it's got just natively coming out with the Mithril. So it's now got like enchanted weapons, a bolder ranged attack. So these are like giants that sort of work. But again, it's interesting that they do actually have lightning vulnerability. So going up against arcane magic is fairly tricky. So that's actually, I've sort of struggled a little bit against, for example, against whirlwinds. So we've actually got a whirlwind we have to go and try to get when I come back to the game tomorrow. It's going to be, so we're building up a group of hellhounds, which are fairly low level, magical units, if we just go back through this portal. So we're starting to sort of now, there's some adamantine there. So Elephant City is going to be then sort of decked out eventually to, like it's still early days in here, but this one will eventually then be adamantine powered units. And down in here, this is not anything to do with the, with our group, but I could have actually put another soul cannon there, but I've now changed this one across to Dark Elves. So we've got like a Dark Elf city there to make use of the adamantine and the mithril. But it's actually, where's my main army? That's what I was looking for. Go over here. Yeah, so this is their main army that we actually have. So this is actually like the a fighting force with these sort of soulless units. So they're starting to level up. But as I say, they do struggle a bit, and the one area I just cannot fight is this one in here at this point in time because of these guys. The lightning damage from this sorcery node. You can see that it does very, very high melee attack. It does do. It's got a naturally enchanted weapon, and I think that the enchantment is well, it seems to come across as lightning. It may even just be that it's the node itself that causes that sort of lightning damage if we go and attack it. But it's this army, even though it's very, very strong, actually can't deal with that, which has been quite interesting actually. So it's a very, very interesting addition to the game. But I'm finding that it's not superficial. Like everything is really, really well done with what they've actually built. It's still just the old UX issues that I've had with the game that are still actually the main issues for the game for me. So I hope that they do actually fix that one up. Okay, so, so just reading a few of the comments there. So Battleman's saying not really feeling the vibe of the new Master Magic DLC, gun-wielding lolly girls riding pigs and steampunk. Not really my thing. That's the hero, but we don't have heroes. So anyway, and then Ben goes on to say, I wish they'd kept the classic fantasy settings. I effing hate steampunk. I like it actually, and like to be honest, it hasn't bothered me. It's when you think about it, like the game it's not really, well, I guess it's sort of steampunk, but it doesn't feel like it's steampunk if you sort of go into it. Like they're almost more like Necron type, sort of cyborg type units that are coming through. They're almost like an undead type thing. That I guess they do have these Soul Trap do actually have the feel of steampunk sort of feel to them. The fact that it's showing cannons there, it's still just a melee attack. So I always assumed it wasn't. It was actually the hands here that were doing the damage. Again, these are mithril powered, these particular ones. And but here I just see them as very heavily armoured units, a bit similar to dwarves in a lot of ways. They do actually have this special ability where they are a construct, and so you do actually get some other benefits of actually being able to then push things in around that as well, which is, as I say, it's been, for me, I've actually really, really enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it a lot more than what I thought I would. Okay, so what are we up to? That's classic Master of Magic music, says Sithel. Yeah. And so Messless is saying both are nice to pick up, play a bit, set down. Sithel saying good thing about DLC is that you do not have to get it. And Sithel saying I do like steampunk, so I do not have an issue with it. Yeah, Final Fantasy VI was the best one, says Sithel. Yeah, I'm not sure what you were talking about there, but anyway, that's okay. Gary's in sort of thing, I just want to turn off the city radius and have a better building queue. I don't mind it, and actually it's funny because I also don't mind that the city doesn't grow. I like that you have to sort of plan it and then almost like set and forget it, like which I actually quite like. And with the extra distance between it, you then have to really think about where you position your city. This city we're building up at the moment, but it's yeah, I'm actually enjoying it a lot with what it's actually, with the changes that they've actually brought with it. It's good. This says I love getting my heroes in Master of Magic. Yeah, well, we haven't got any at all in here, which is, as I say, very, very strange. And Brendan Peach is saying yeet is American slang term for throwing something. Yes. And Marin is saying you need to have enough gold. Game doesn't offer heroes to hire if you can't afford them. Also, only 4 fame. Well, everyone else is on about the same fame as me, and the gold has been up and down. So at the very moment, we're low because we're building up cities, but we've been up to 800 at different times, 700 for a fair portion of the late part of the game. So really, it should have come around those times, and it just hasn't come. So yeah, we've been spending the money, but it's but not dramatically. Okay, so Thor is saying, could you please explain how city production resources work in Master of Magic? Yeah, look, the way it works is it's I don't think I've got any settlers. The easiest way to test this is with an actual settler. The settler will then sort of colour code the map for you if you've got one selected, which we don't actually have. But if we go and If I press the tab, it ends up bringing up the surveyor mode back in through here. And so I can then sort of have a look to see, and if I hover down this other side, you'll see how it's sort of got like city resources. It's got like maximum population of 23 and a production bonus of 15. The way that works is it's looking at everything like 2 hexes away from that central square to see, it's taking into account what's happening there with the forest. It's taking into account what's happening here with the hills and the mountain. So that would all sort of come, actually the mountain from there, oh, hang on, there. This one's 20, so 25, 23. So we don't get mountains. Actually, no, we don't get the mountains. We get grasslands and through there. And so what this one does is the food will then sort of allow us to have the extra growth. This is sort of like what we end up getting from here. Half a food on the hill, but we get extra production. So everything around the area will either be food or production, basically. And so then you've got special resources like iron ore, silver ore, and these just give you like extra gold, or sometimes like the forest will give you usually extra food, etc. But even things like the shoreline will then boost the resources. So the thing really is to just sort of hover around and just sort of see what the maximum population and production bonus is to a degree. But if there's a choice between a couple and there's a river, I don't think we've got any rivers down in here. I'm just trying to find one. Here's a river. Yeah, so if I go over to here, for example, this one here has got a maximum population of 27 and a production bonus of 9. Now, usually the production bonus is not going to be all that great, but at this location here, river, so increases the town income by 20% and the maximum population by 2. So if I had a choice between, say, that place and this shoreline is only 10%. So the river is better for us to go. There is actually also like a river. This is a river mouth, which gives 30%. So the native resources that we sort of see, like the grasslands, the forests, etc., give the capacity to build something in the actual cities themselves. But then the resources beyond that, like the adamantine, provides extra power, for example, and I can then, depending on what I build in my city, can then make use of the adamantine to then empower the troops. So if we go back up to the other cities that we actually have and look at the city here, which has got the mithril in it. So this particular city, when we have a look at this one here, this is Tovertown, and it's actually got mithril ore and silver ore. So if we have a look at the actual city itself, just click on twice, we'll see a few different things in here. So we've got, like, for example, a shoreline. So we're getting so increases the town income by 10%, so maximum population by 1, and towns placed on a coastal tile can build naval buildings. So from here we can build a shipyard if we wanted to. And we also have a special ability playing as the Soul Trapped, where they actually do get they get extra growth if there's minerals inside their city radius. So we get a little bit of a bonus with these special resources. The resources themselves tend to just give you bonuses. So if we have a look, the silver ore gives me +2 gold, and then the mithril gives me +1 power. So the gold is increased a little bit with the town's resources. You can see I've got 41 in total from all of my different towns. So that just gets added into our ledger, and power as well. So basically is the power that comes in. If we have a look back over here, ultimately we'd then be able to sort of have a look to see what does go on. So each resource can be important, but it's sort of funny because the addition or lack of different things will actually then impact what you can do. So this one here, for example, if we go into the build queue and have a look what we can build, we can technically build the where is it? Ship's right skill, right in here. So this one we have to be on a shoreline to be able to build this particular building. Otherwise, we don't get to build it. Like if we go across to the other city that we actually have over here, our capital, which is on a river, and have a look at it. So it's actually now on a river. We get to 20%. We also do have gold in there, so we're getting the boost with the minerals. But if we look at its build queue, so it's got the. If we just go back across. Where is the ship guild? The ship guild probably doesn't even show. Yeah, it's not going to show because we don't have access to it. But see, the sawmill requires a forest within range. So if we have a look, we don't actually have a forest in the range here. If we so we can't build a sawmill at this location. If we come up into here, this is a town that I particularly wanted to build some archers, but I can't build that because the town itself doesn't actually have any forest, and so in that case, I think there's a spell you can do to bring in a forest in, but in this case, I had to stop doing that. If we go back into the build queue in here, the sawmill leads on to, so you can sort of see through here. We've got it allows the Knoll Bowman, the Foresters Guild, basically. So the bowmen, if you look at the bowmen, these require both the barracks, which we do actually have, and the sawmill. But without actually having the forest, we can't build the sawmill. So things like that, it's actually quite intricate, but in a really simple way to actually then play the game. So it's very, very easy to actually pick it up. Okay, Thor is then saying it says 3% hammers, but 3% of what? It adds to the production. So if we have a look and see this particular town, actually I'll go to one of the others. So I'll just go back to, say, this one here, which is where we're trying to build these different units. So the town itself, like we've got global resources up here of gold, mana, food. So these are all global resources. We have to have enough food to pay our populations. And then we actually have back over through here different resources that are then done from the town itself. And so if we have a look, we've got the citizens of either farmers, workers, or rebels. Rebels come when you've got too much unrest, and so there's what the game wants to do in this instance is have 10% of the total population, which is 13. So we've got 13. In fact, we've got 12. Yeah, we've got 13,000 population of a maximum of 26,000. So 13, which is what these all. So every 1,000 people ends up being either a worker or a farmer. but 10% of that, meaning 1.3, going down to 1. So one of those should be a rebel. But you then can do other things to then stop the rebels. So, for example, we've got if you've got 2 units inside your city, it will then reduce one rebellion counter, which allows you then to sort of work them. So what actually happens through here is that we can then, the game will automatically reshuffle these for you, but we can decide, okay, look, I really want to get extra food, so I'm going to take my workers across and see what happens in through here. So the food is being produced. Now we have to always be able to produce enough food in every city to feed that city. So we can't bring in the food in through here, the extra food in through this side is for unit upkeep, not for city upkeep. So we have to be able to have enough food to pay for the city itself. And so if we just keep on, if I add more in, it now goes to 14 to 16. And we add more again, 18. And so as we do that, the global food goes up, and we've still got more. I can't go less. When we take that away, it comes out, the workers then take it out of hammers or production. And so from here, we actually have like a production of 14. If I start to go and add these ones back in again, if I add one more, we then actually have a problem. You can't lower the number of farmers below the minimum that's necessary to support the town's population, otherwise they'll starve. So 18 hammers is the most we can then go and get. But we're on the coastline, so we end up with I think it's a 10% extra hammers that we sort of end up getting through there. It doesn't tell us exactly what we end up getting with that, but essentially the resources will then give us a percentage boost to that hammer amount. In fact, it may already be applied, because I think that for our faction, you can see their production per worker is 2. So we do 2 hammers per worker. So we've got 14 hammers is what we're actually producing. And then we have percentages on top of that with what we then get. Now, I don't know if we can see exactly where that actually is. Yeah, I can't see it anywhere. So that's, but instead of it being 14, it's 18. And a lot of that will come about because of the buildings we actually have in here. So there'll be certain buildings will actually raise it. Like if we, it's research, actually a library. I don't think the library adds anything to it. That's just research. The stable, some buildings will actually raise what we can then go and do. The Builders Hall adds 15% to housing. That doesn't actually add anything to it. So it may just be the natural things we have around it. So if we have a look at a location, we've only got 2 hills in here, and the rest of it is grassland. So if I press tab, We're not seeing the actual amounts there for it. But if we go up and have a look at another city that's got like a lot of mountains, for example, like Tenru Village, and have a look and see what it's got. So we've only got 2 workers, so that should be 4, but we're getting 7. We're nearly getting like, we're probably getting like 60% extra because of all the mountains around it. And so these are then boosting the actual the amount of resource, like the amount of production that we can get from this particular location. Even though it's just very, very early days for this particular village, it's still actually getting a lot of hammers, through the bonuses. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, that's so. Yep. So Marin is saying at that fame, it's 3% for hero per turn. It should spawn already. Yeah, it's sort of. If you have a look at the other thing, sorry, with that spawning, if we have a look at the diplomacy, see their fame's only 4. That one's high. That's 16. These weren't that high that long ago, so their fame is improving. But they were the same level as I was fairly recently. But no, it's a really, really cool game. It's fairly simple in the way it does play out. Actually, Marin's saying farmers produce 0.5 hammer per pop too. They do for this particular faction. I forgot about that. Yeah, so is that just that would then be that would be everything, wouldn't it? Really? 18. We got 6 there, so that's another 3. So 14. Yeah, so that would be about what you'd expect. And back up into here, we've only got 6 people in total. 4 of them, so half, so 2, another 2 coming in, so we've got 4, 5, 6, yeah, so it's not actually pushing it that much up. But yeah, so that extra production bonus does actually help a lot. Actually, I don't have anywhere down here I can actually go and settle, I don't think. I'll just press tab around here somewhere. Yeah, so that production bonus is coming from the resources around it. Then sort of raise what it can actually then go and do. But yeah, so it's simple, and these don't grow. Once you've got them established, that's it. That's it for the game. It's sort of it does work out fairly well. But as I say, I'm really pleasantly surprised with the DLC. I mean, I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Yeah, so Trank is in saying I don't found a city without forest. There we go. Yes. And Trank's actually been giving me a lot of good advice over the time that I've been playing Master of Magic. To be honest, like lots of little extra things to do and different ways of sort of looking at the game, which has been really quite cool. Okay, so I'll just skim past all of those. Thor is then saying every city has a base production, then gets bonuses from the area around it. Pretty much, yes. And they don't change, so they basically don't change. But there are buildings that also can boost your production. And Marin was just saying these arcane spell summon heroes, everyone has access to it. No, they don't. No, they don't. Sorry, I'm going to have to show that again. Oh, well, no one's got that spell. I will show that. It should load up pretty fast. And that's why I'm thinking it's actually the extras have somehow got that something to do with that. And I don't know if there was a setting at the start to like these free add-ons. I've got a funny feeling there may be something in there, but if we go to new game, there are a few extra things we can now do in this one. So yeah, add starting hero, that's not it there. So there's a few extra things in through here. We've now got a soul trap threat. You can decide when that one does actually hit. Yeah, I think it must just be something to do with the setup from it. But if I go back out and then just load in that game again. Shrink is saying, too bad the new add-on comes so close to Starfield early access. Yeah, I don't know what the price will be of this DLC. I don't know if they consider this game a niche game or just a general game. I mean, in my mind, it should be thought of as a general type game, so I wouldn't have been thinking the DLC should be too expensive, but I just really don't know. What are we going to look at? We're going to look at these guys again. So they don't have, nobody's got summon hero. So there's no summon hero in there. No summon hero. So I can't trade for these things. Haven't looked at this one for a while. Disenchant, he's got a fair few more. Vertigo, Wind Mastery, Blur, Spell Lock, Enchant Road, Spell Blast. God, he's doing really quite well. Phantom Beast, Disjunction, Wind Walking, Visibility, Storm Giant, and then he's just got the different bits and pieces in through there. But again, no summon hero, no summon champion either. And then finally this one. Oh, he's got nothing to say. He doesn't like us in the conversation. But yeah, it's been quite strange actually. You know, the heroes have been so difficult, which I don't mind actually, if that's actually done consciously, because the heroes were so overpowered in the base game. Anyway, we'll quit that game. But yeah, as I say, I'm thoroughly enjoying playing that one. What are we up to? So Mariner's saying each wizard begins the game with 2 arcane spells already available, and any wizard may research all arcane spells by the end of the game. You just need to research a few of them to get it. I don't think it's in there. I actually think it's been taken out because I've been trying to get all of the arcane spells as well while I've been playing, and so just to try to leave almost like a suction to bring the summon hero spell in, and it just doesn't appear. Okay, so yeah, there we go. So Trank is saying, yeah, price isn't important for the things I love. There we go. So we've got the anyway. Let's continue on. Now there was the video that was put out. Now I don't know if they've put that into, if it's still not just on Twitch or is on YouTube now. I'll just open up YouTube and just do a quick search for Slytherin. Slowing down. It's Slytherin games. Now that's that's Battle Sector. Let's have a look at their channel. When did they update it? Yeah, no, this is not. They haven't put the Eric's presentation there. I watched it live and it was very good. Again, just sort of showing what was coming. I'm not allowed to show it yet though, so I'm actually not allowed to show what's coming. Other than we did it last week, so otherwise I'd show you portions of what Eric actually had done. If we go to videos, maybe. Yeah, no, nothing's really been updated. Okay, so no, they haven't actually put the Twitch stream that Eric did up there. And I think there's been too many streams now. I'm not sure if it'll be easy to find. I'll have a quick look and see if we can find it. It looks like they're currently streaming, so it's actually hard to find the videos when there's a stream on. So there must be a stream, yeah, all the way through. That's another great game, but I can't find it. Maybe there. No, that's just a link out to it. Yeah, it's not going to be it either. Yeah, okay. No, I don't know. Sorry, it's I can't access while there's an actual live stream on. I can't go straight to the videos. So we'll leave that one there. All right, so we'll, what else should we talk about? What else should we talk about? We're going to talk about Stronghold. Now, the definitive edition. So that's coming out in November. Is that the one that you were referring to? That's a long way off. Let's have a look at this.
To our reimagining of the original castle. Life in the old castle. Welcome, lords and ladies, to our reimagining of the original castle sim, Stronghold. Relive the glorious first entry in the Stronghold series with all new visuals, features, and audio. It truly takes breathing in this medieval setting to the next level. Actually, it kind of smells like feces. Featuring a complete artwork overhaul from miserable peasants to the glorious English beasters, with upgraded characters, buildings, and animations. Made even better during an intense castle siege, as vying commanders compete for total domination in brutal medieval warfare. Also, side note, we added Steam multiplayer, so that you don't have to jump through 1,000 hoops to play with your friend Greg, like you did in the original. Time to die, Greg. But fear not, my lords and ladies, for that isn't it. We also have a new campaign, Steam Workshop support, a fully remastered soundtrack, returning voice actors, a new castle trail of siege scenarios, a modernized UI with a classic mode option, of course, fresh multiplayer maps, and more. Relive your medieval dreams in Stronghold, Definitive Edition, by wishlisting the game on Steam.
You know, it's weird. It's weird, the Stronghold series. I mean, I look at that, and I just, in my head, like, when you look at the name, you think Stronghold Definitive Edition, you think, oh, fantastic. We're going to get like a new version of Stronghold that's going to go back to its roots and build something that sort of is the next spiritual successor. But we don't. We end up with a cheap money grab by the looks of things. And it's just like, if we look at all of their games, like the games that all the Stronghold games are fairly poor, I think, in terms of their ratings. Let's have a look and see what we can find out in here. If we start doing a search for Stronghold, the Stronghold series. Yeah, I don't know when these actually came out, to be honest. It's that one's actually rated pretty high. That one's got a high rating. Stronghold 2. When did that one? I don't know how long ago these actually came out. Stronghold HD. Well, how is this different? There we go. The release date is 2001. 92%. So this is what we're looking at. We're looking at the HD version made into higher HD. Is basically what we've been told. 20 odd years later, 20 years ago, we get the HD version. And then we get the other one. So Crusader was the I guess the high point of the whole lot. Yeah, 94%, 2002. So that was the high mark. Stronghold release date unknown. So is this one the one that's coming, or is this the actual? This one looks different again, but it's got a high rating. I don't know why it's saying release date unknown. I don't know when this one came out. I thought that was a fair few years ago. Stronghold Legends. Again, the ratings actually not. I anticipated the ratings would be bad here. 2009. It's old. That's ratings unknown there. I'm not sure if that's anything to do with it. Stronghold Crusader 2, 69%. I was bitterly disappointed in this one. Yeah, maybe I've been too harsh. Stronghold Kingdoms in 2012. I mean, I thought it was under 50%, to be honest. I was underwhelmed, very, very underwhelmed with what had been produced in recent years. It just didn't capture the original game, but the original game also wouldn't capture the original game in terms of its modern thing. So I don't know. For me, I'm not all that excited by it, to be honest. This was saying Age of Empires have some great definitive editions, so I guess saw that, yeah, and all the remasters. Yeah, again, for me, I don't tend to play the remasters all that much. Yeah, I don't love those games as much as I did love Stronghold in its day, but yeah, I don't think I'd be wanting to play a remake of the original game. So. Okay, so Garashian saying, speaking of poor, Age of Wonders 4 ratings dipped to mixed for a while, and though I understand the criticisms, I don't agree with them. Yeah, that's an interesting one as well. Like, if we have a look at, if we go back to Steam and look at Age of Wonders, Age of Wonders 4. Yeah, so recent reviews mixed. Still a lot of them coming in. So 68 versus 80. Wow. So that's a high percentage. I'm surprised that it's actually rated at 80, to be honest. I love the game, but I know that I'm a real fanboy of this game. So I'm surprised it's that high, because I know that people are getting sick of it. Now, how do we look at the actual ratings? There is a graph here. Show the graph. Okay, so this is looking just in recent times. So we're looking at essentially the from the launch. So we ended up with a 3,000 percentage in through there. I don't know what the rate, like what the percentage actually was at that point, but just trying to gather whether that's an 80-20. That looks like it is an 80, like 80%, 80%, 80% all the way through there. Yeah, so that's no longer 80%. When we've got sort of like 70 versus 40, like we're down to under like in the 65 percentiles. 72, no negatives in through that one. Okay, some minor negatives. In recent times, we are getting a lot more negatives now coming back through from July through into August. So we're getting a lot of positives though as well. So there's, but it has dwindled off over time. It's hard to get like a, I don't know if I can change the graph type. Yeah, most recent. Yeah, it's not going to help us there. I'll just do the summary. Date range, lifetime. Yeah, I can't do the actual. I can't get like a line graph, which would have been useful to see it. But at least there's meaningful information there. I mean, we can do this with any game. So, we can have a look back at Master of Magic, for example, and just sort of see how that one's tracked. Although it's hard with the games that aren't, or Distant Worlds. This is another one that has come back up, but then gone back down again. And Distant Worlds, you can see it's currently reviewed at 70%. Like, it's only got to drop down 1%, and it then goes back into mixed. And 57% in the last 30 days are this is as bad as it's ever been for this game. And I don't get that, to be honest, because the game is getting better and better all the way through. So I'm sort of, my mind boggles as to how that can be the case. You can see there again, it was it launched to very, very mixed reviews. I guess it doesn't take much at this point in time with a game like this, because it just doesn't have the audience at the moment. So it really does need an injection of people playing it to sort of bring the reviews up. But I'm guessing if we look at the overall, like all of the weight of reviews was back in the first days. So it's very hard when you've got hardly any reviews coming in to actually then change that. So that 70% is probably actually fairly safe for a little while. I think that this little region in here pushed it over the 70% because it was on 69% for so long, and then finally sort of got like a bit of a boost along at that point there. There we go. 3 people reviewed it on that day and enjoyed it. So anyway, but that's the game is an awesomely good game. Definitely one of my favourite games of the year. Okay, so Phobius is saying somehow I still prefer Master of Magic a lot more than Age of Wonders 4. I can see that. It's playing it. Master of Magic is an incredible game. Like, it really is, and it's it plays very, very well. So Tenra is saying I can't be asked to play an RTS like Stronghold. I prefer my turn-based stuff. Besides, I see nothing new there besides some nostalgic memories. Pretty much, I'm 100% with you there. Just saying, I do wish they push stuff with Age of Wonders 4 more. I agree it converges with its gameplay. Yeah, it does need somehow more separation, but I don't know how they do it. I just don't know how they do it. Yeah, so Thor is then saying Distant World's got my fleet stranded all the time. Even now, like that, like over the last year, that shouldn't have happened. Like that was an early sort of portion of things that did actually happen there. Anyway, let's go and have a look at the. I guess we'll start to sort of just have a look at gaming news. There is actually one thing I do want to talk about is the Against the Storm, because that's actually got more content coming. And this is overwhelmingly positive. Like, it rates at 95%, which is, and 96%, unheard of for this sort of game. And this is the best, without a doubt, the absolute best city builder that I've ever played. It's just incredible. And there is new content coming. I think I'm allowed to talk about it. I'm just trying to think. Is something that? No, I don't think. I'm not under any instruction not to talk about it. But this, even with I mean, it is early access anyway. So yes, there is stuff coming, but there's exciting stuff coming as well. This is just so well done. This game, it really is just amazingly well done. And I don't know if there's any sort of news coming up. We'll have a quick look and see if there's anything in the community hub that I'm allowed to talk about. Here we go. So we've got a limited edition Beaver plush. So in collaboration, we're launching the crowdfunding campaign for the Beaver Village plushie. This is the first ever official Against the Storm merch, and we're super excited to let. So we do actually have now the Beaver was one of the actual factions. That one's coming. It's the sealed forest biome available. Okay, so they are talking about the forest biomes. I don't think did we speak about this last week? No, this only just come out, hasn't it? So yeah, this one wasn't around last week. Sealed Forest Ancient Seal. So excited to invite you to the experimental version of the upcoming Sealed Forest update. It will introduce the proper Sealed Forest biome with unique visuals and gameplay mechanics. The experimental update features only the mechanical aspects. All the visual assets and placeholders that will be replaced when the proper update goes live. As with any of the other experimental updates, the upcoming changes are not localized. There can be bugs, so blah blah blah. And August 31st for this particular update. That should be just a free update to the basic game. And they're still building on the various sort of updates in through here as well. So that's the sort of things you're then going to pick up from them, I guess. But again, what a great game this one is. And just getting better and better and better. So anyway, that's got my big seal of approval as far as the city builder is concerned. So Viren Games is saying Against the Storm, the game that keeps on giving. It sort of does, and I love that it can be so procedural, like with something that's so structured as well. Like, it's very, very cool. Okay, so Straightforward is saying, I may have missed it, but how do you feel Galactic Civ 4 compares to Distant Worlds 2 and Stellaris? That's a great question. And it's one of those things where I don't play much Stellaris, and I've really got to get back and play more of Stellaris. But one of the things that, because I've been recording a series of videos for Gal Civ, and I've been thoroughly enjoying them. And so I can sort of talk about what I think the differences actually are. But one of the things that Stardock actually gave as a bit of, I guess, an introduction for people who are recording the game is how they consider the game. And they look at the game as like an extension, like a board game, like a very, very deep board game. And I think when you go into playing Gal Civ 4 with that mindset, I find that revolutionary, just in terms of, I guess, just getting lost in what the game then gives you. And if you look at Distant Worlds 2 and you think, could Distant Worlds 2 be considered a board game? There's no way. Like, it's much more like a simulation. So for me, Distant Worlds 2 is much more of a simulation game, whereas Gal Civ and Stellaris are more sort of like, then it was Stardock who actually termed the phrase, it was more like a board game. And when you actually think of them in those two different ways, you're talking about two very, very different systems of gaming. And which means that Distant Worlds, even though it simplifies things, actually has all of the detail for the simulation side of things. So you've got that aspect with Distant Worlds. But to put that level of detail into a board game sort of style game doesn't work, because all you're doing then is adding, instead of simplifying mechanics, you're complicating mechanics. And so for me, what I've found is that the more I've played Gal Civ 4, the more I've actually appreciated how streamlined the actual user interface is. It's actually one of the most beautiful games I've played, to be honest. It really is beautiful, the way it does actually play. I'll open it up so you can actually see it. And the actual game mechanics as well are just so rich and deep. It's sort of like I did an introduction video on the different game mechanics that have sort of come in since Gal Civ 3, and it, by the way, the Gal Civ 4, its Supernova is actually not. It's not Gal Civ 4. It's Gal Civ 4.5 basically. The Supernova version is an enhanced version of the base game, and so it's the only version available on Steam, but if you do have the Epic version, you can actually get an upgrade for it, and it really is very, very different than the launch version as well. So this is version 1.7 of the game at this point in time, but just I took over an hour trying to cover all of the different game mechanics. Like it was really quite a... And I still didn't get through everything, like it's just beautiful. Like if I just go in and continue, if I just go and load in, I'll load in where I am, I guess. This is where I'm up to with my recording at the moment. And there have been some user experience issues with the game at this point in time. It's still early access, so there will be other changes. But I've been super impressed with the way that the mechanics have sort of folded on top of each other. The game just looks great. But the other thing about the game as well is that it's very, very responsive, and you've got the different sort of sectors of space that you then sort of are dealing with, etc., which is really quite cool. You do get like a summary as to how the how people are actually sort of what strength they've got in the actual sectors themselves. So even just the user interface with this actually works very, very well. It's got a bit of a thing where it, like as you sort of start to come in, you get more and more sort of streamlined information, or less and less as you actually do come in. Like for example, you can evaluate the class of a planet just with hovering over it. It's just beautifully done. Like it really is amazingly well done. And then, of course, you just come sort of right into it. The other thing that they've really enhanced a lot with the game is the role play aspect. And so, I guess when you sort of think of it in terms of the characters in the game, the characters, they're not like you're playing an actual role play game where you've got like a group of 4 characters rolling around, sort of doing the same thing, and they're the ones that you control. They are everywhere, but the characters themselves, you do get used to them, and they start to have bearing, particularly your various governors, the governors of the planets, because these will actually then start to sort of interact with you on a regular basis, and so you get used to who they are and what they're doing and what they're good at, and based on how they think of you or what sort of interests they actually have, these then get pushed into different events that happen as well. And it's all like the procedural generation and the balance within that procedural generation is just exceptional. So this is very much it's a very different game to Distant Worlds. So it's almost impossible to compare them, because all of these little things in Distant Worlds would just become even more complexity in an already complex game. In fact, I find that Distant Worlds tries to push characters, but doesn't do it very well. Like it doesn't really matter much about the actual characters that you have. Like who cares what spy you're using? Like you don't really get attached to them. Whereas in this game, you do get much more attached to them than what you did before. So it's as I say, I'm blown away by the game, to be honest. It really is extremely good. You can put sort of like diplomats. I just don't have the money. Actually, I may have the money right now. I do have the money right now to go and get somebody else. And so, like, even just evaluating what they have, the little abilities, it's all fairly sort of basic and simple, the way that you sort of then can look at things. But the interface is great. The mechanics are great. The way that the mechanics fold in on top of each other is fantastic. Really, really astounded by just how good this has become. If you've played, I know a lot of people actually enjoyed Gal Civ 2 and then when Gal Civ 3 came out, they actually lost interest in the franchise. Gal Civ 4 is built by the Gal Civ 2 team, and that's a team that will stay with the game now. So even after the game launches officially, they're going to have a dedicated team, and it is apparently a lot of the people working on it are from the Gal Civ 2 iteration of the game, and it's just really, really nicely done. The look of it looks great. As I say, just a few little issues with the user experience, which I hope that they'll actually sort of fix that one up before too long. But it's really, really quite nice. So Cash was saying, I'm very attached to your characters in Distant Worlds 2, especially when I get timed out. Yes. Well, there's ships. So you're more attached to the ships, which does make sense. The ships are important. I guess the admirals and generals you do sort of get a bit used to in Distant Worlds 2, but it's very different. Like in this game, everything is built to be streamlined so that you can actually play fairly fast. And so I don't know even how many turns in I actually am in through here, 52 turns, and it really has happened pretty fast. So it's sort of like that's the other thing. It's just turn-based. Distant Worlds 2 is real time, but Distant Worlds for me. And comparing this to Stellaris, I think the closest thing would be to compare this one to Stellaris, because Stellaris is also one of those sort of it's a game very much in the same sort of light, but. As I say, I'm thoroughly enjoying playing just Gal Civ 4. I mean, Distant Worlds is one of my favourite games of all time. Distant Worlds 2, I absolutely love it. But it feels like I'm playing a very, very different game when I'm playing Gal Civ 4. You're not really comparing apples and apples. You're comparing apples and oranges when you sort of do talk about them. But yeah, it's as I say, thoroughly enjoying it. So anyway, I won't keep on gushing over it, but. But recording for it has been fun. It has been the pacing has been good. Yeah, so all of those sorts of things. It has been actually really, really quite interesting to go and do it. So, but yeah, no, it's a very, very good game, and it's really underplayed. Like I can't believe the small numbers that are playing these games. They're great games. And so Regular saying we need a ChatTactic plushie. Well, Gessner's saying running a new Gal Civ 4 with the latest update patch, a huge universe about 120 turns in, and my starting sector looks packed. Going to be very, very fun, yes. And that's the other thing too, the actual customization in the game. You can play a galaxy where you've got nearly 100 players playing in it, or down to one that you've got one other player playing in it. Like it's really, the scope is just unbelievable. Voodoo Dog saying, doesn't Gal Civ have some weird, as in bad, real-time auto-battle system? Yes, that's the worst part of the game, in my opinion. But it's funny, because the more I've played it, the more I can see why it's there, but I just still don't like it. So with the auto-battler inside Gal Civ is essentially something where I don't know how complex I should make this. When you build a ship in Gal Civ, in fact, I'll open it back up again. I'll try to really do this quickly, because it's one of these things where the intricacy of the battle system. I don't mind it having an intricate battle system. A simple auto battle system, but I think it just needs some sort of direction with what you're going to then go and do. Hang on, I'll just grab myself a drink of water as well. So if we go and if I just go and continue that particular one. And we do actually have a fleet, which is down in Drengen space who we're at war with. So I don't actually have any battles I can do with this particular fleet, but this fleet in here comprises of a whole lot of frigates and a couple of fighter craft. So I don't know if we can go to the management screen of this one. Where's management? Not sure why I can't see the management. Oh, there it is. Yeah, so this is the management screen. And again, this is where the user interface looks great, but the actual, what it gives you is not, it doesn't tell you enough information in here about what's actually going on. So if we have a look at, for example, this is our best ship in there, but if we have a look at some of the other basic ones, we've got like frigates back in through this other side, more frigates across. So we've got a heap of frigates. We've got 6 frigates and 2 fighter craft. So and if we press shift and hover over these things in through this side, we do actually sort of get like a bit of bit of a summary of some of the extra stuff that's been added in there. So Arsenal, we've got a star cannon placed on this particular fighter craft. I made a mistake doing that. And kinetic weapons combine high damage. So it's got like a special cannon. So this guy here does have, if I shift and hover over this one, its kinetic attack is 4.4. Now, one thing this is not showing us is how these attacks actually work. So the actual, all the setup for the auto battle is done with designing your ships and then composing your faction. So if you just, I won't go through in too much detail in here. This one does a little bit less. This one does beam attacks. This one will be doing beam attacks as well, I think. Hang on, I'll just shift. Won't do it. Shift and go. No, I won't do it. If I select it, can we do it this way? Yeah, we can. And so again, beam attacks for the frigates in through this other side. So we've got the frigates. It doesn't what it doesn't do is it doesn't tell you in the screen what the ships actually go and do, what their whole purpose actually is. But if we go back out to the actual designer, the ship designer, we can then see a lot more information about how the actual composition works in combat. So the auto battle system is actually really quite good, except all of the work is done back in here, well before you actually have your battles. And this for me is where the disconnect is. I would prefer to be able to be doing something other than just basically moving the ships around and the basic composition. I prefer to be doing some sort of basic scripting in here, a bit like with Dominions, just to do something different, so that there's an impact from the actual before you go into actual fight. Whereas in the actual setup, so the auto battler is not as basic as it seems, because if you sort of then see what goes on with the actual combat, it's actually not too bad. So if you just go back in, double click on this one, go to new design and start new design through here. And so when we actually go across, actually this is just a pro, but you can see when we go to lasers, it will then start to give you information like the beam range. It's got a mid-range attack of like 1,000 kilometers, and it also then has, it should actually have like a range there, but again, it doesn't give you that information either. This one does give you like a range in space that you can then use the beam attack with. I think it's only 2 hexes or something. It's got a cooldown as well, so it can be used reasonably quickly, like every 3 turns essentially. So this is these, and it's got a 90% accuracy. So these are very accurate. They've got a cooldown of essentially 3 and a mid-range attack. So when you're designing your ships, you then think, okay, well, maybe I should, if I use lasers, at least I'm going to get high accuracy, medium range. If I then go to missiles, so we can look at the hypersonic missiles, these are long range, so 5 times the range. The cooldown is 6, so they fire every 6 turns, and the missile accuracy is only 50%, so half of them are going to then go and miss. But then you've got other different things you can sort of then go and add in. So all of the missiles are then 5,000, and then the cannons are short range. But these reload very fast. And so these have got, like the kinetic accuracy there is only 67%. So these are like your rail guns and things. And so these have got short range but fast reloading. So that decision in the design is important to figure out what you want. These can't fire in deep space. They can only fire in combat. So these are close range weapons, and I think they're also ultimately your point defense, but I'm not 100% sure about that one. But that's what these guys actually then go and do. So if you go back and if we go and cancel that one and have a look at some of the others, for example, I had redesigned a cruiser. So this cruiser here is one that I designed in the game itself. And so in this case, I've put on like different sorts of weaponry, different missiles, a couple of beams as well, and just some defenses. The defenses are also important with this. If we just go back in and just go to new design in here, I'll just go back to another cruiser, start a new design, just so we've got something to sort of start with. So the beam attacks, like the 3 different types of attacks now, I've got, it's more the range and how fast they actually sort of operate and the accuracy. They're the factors that we now consider. When we go to defenses, we can't show it in here, The defenses also have varying defenses that then also operate against those different attacks. So if you've got a player that's specializing in missiles, then you want to make sure that you're using point defense guns to sort of then overcome it. But the point defense guns are still got some limited capability against other sorts of weapons. So again, your defense choice once you get deeper into the game is also important. So all of these little factors have a big bearing. Even things like, for example, the propulsion, because of the boost, some of these will then have the interstellar. This is thrusters. Mass that moves. Not sure if that's. We're not seeing anything else in through there. Actually, this is actually the speed of the ships. There'll be a speed factor. I can't see it there actually with what I'm looking at, but there's also a speed factor for in combat with the actual ships themselves. So that's of interest as well. So if you've got kinetic weapons on a ship, then you need to be closing the gap as fast as you possibly can. So the engines become important. So the actual ship design is a lot more important than it's ever been in the game, which is great. So let's just go back out. The other thing, when we do go back in, if we just go back into new design, I don't know if I can actually show these. I thought there was another place. I'm a bit lost as to where they actually are. Oh, here we go. This also, I wish that this information was available in the actual game itself. When you look at the different classes, so when I click on fighters, it then gives me a list of what it will attack in combat. And this is actually how you then try to structure how you approach a particular battle, but you're doing it from way, way, way back when you're building the ships, not from before the battle itself. And so the targeting priorities for a fighter is bomber, then fighter, then frigate, then cruiser, then large capital ships. So that's the order that it then goes through. So the fighter is designed to get essentially fighter superiority in the actual battle itself. So they're trying to destroy the bombers and fighters to gain that superiority. The bombers have got the opposite. These are going up against the capital ships. That's what they're trying to destroy. They've got cruisers, frigates, and then finally down to the bombers and fighters if there's none of these others available. So they target different things depending on what's coming in. So again, if you depending on what you're going up against, you can then change the composition of your fleet to then go into the actual battle. So this is actually, again, one of these where the strategy does come in. The frigates are very similar to the fighter, where they go bomber, fighter, but then they switch into capital ship, frigate, and then cruiser instead of frigate, cruiser, capital ship. So they switch around. But again, these are mainly to protect your main part of the fleet from bombers, and then also to help with the fighter superiority. So that's actually what the first three lots of ships then do. And then as you start to unlock them, you've then got the cruiser, which is mainly going to be then focusing on the capital ships, the other cruisers, the frigates, and then finally the bombers and fighters. That's all I've got in this stage. But then you've also got the higher ships as well, which also then tend to be focused more on the other capital ships. So that is actually where the strategy kicks in, but you don't know it's there. And that's the trouble with the game. It doesn't actually do a good job of explaining that. So the battles feel like it's just like a random die roll, basically, and see what you get. But there's a lot of work, a lot of decision making you can make leading into the actual battles by focusing on what they target and also what weaponry they have as a composition with what they're actually doing. I hope that makes sense. It's actually it's a lot more intricate than I gave it credit for, but it's intricate from way, way, way back at the, I'll just go back out and click on done. So it's the intricacy is from the setup way, way back over here, many, many turns prior to your actual combat. Whereas I feel that there needs to be something you can do before you go into the specific combat. Like, for example, there's nothing in here we can actually target. But that's for me, that's actually I hope that answered the question. But there's more to it than just it's not just a die roll. It's there's a lot more involved. So and I think when you know that, it's great. But the user experience at the moment doesn't give you that information when you want it. So when we do go in and have a look at the actual fleet and have a look at the actual fleet in here, it's not telling us that the class frigate. I don't think it'll tell me if I do this either. Yeah, so all it just does is give me a summary, like targets fighters, doesn't tell me much. Whereas when you sort of see the full the intricacy of what it does do, it would then allow you to have like a fleet that you then switch different sorts of craft in and out of to sort of see what actually does happen. I saw a video on the Discord for Gal Civ that showed a big battle, and that was interesting to see that, because that's then the glory of the actual system that they've currently got, because it actually then does show just why they can't make it into a tactical battle system. And I've always advocated for a tactical battle system until now. Now I just want a little bit better of an auto battler, but I do appreciate where it actually is. Sorry, I'm missing a lot of the comments in through here. Okay, so Goratian saying, what is planet building like? I remember 3 had a lot of changes to make it not so boring and repetitive. Yeah, that's very, very good in this game as well. If we have a look and see, this is my capital, for example. So what I like about it is it's much more streamlined than it's ever been. So the actual, like it used to be, I don't know if you remember back in 3, but you used to end up with every single possible thing you could build would all be over on the side in here. These are now just the specials that you can get, and you unlock these through your technology tree. Some of them are available through events or through other things as well. So there's every game is quite different. And so that was actually an interesting aspect of the every game with this one. It does sort of feel quite different, although the actual layouts are quite cool as well with the actual planets themselves. The big thing with this is, and it took me a little while to realize it was actually even in the game, is that you now actually have what are called districts, and so you've got your special buildings, but you've also can then just go and think, okay, look, I'm going to go and build myself in this location an actual a research district, which will give me a 2 bonus. And so that one there, I could actually then just queue that one up. And so that's not part of this particular group. So I can build a district anywhere I like on the actual planet itself using the special resources that have come from this particular one. Other things, so it's still got the same feel as the older games, but there's just more you can do, and there's more opportunities with this as well. And there's more, I guess there's more things like these sort of special things. Like this is a Prometheus stone extractor. This will then give me this will give me Promethean once I actually get this one. I should actually really have done this one prior, so I should sort of start to build this one up. But it's very, very nice the way the game sort of works. And then I'm finding it much cleaner than Gal Civ 3 to play with the actual planets. It's also, it used to try to show the actual land mass underneath where the actual things were. It doesn't bother with that anymore. It just gives you a bit of a planet underneath it. So it still will ultimately, I'll be able to unlock a few more little areas, but it just works well. It also feels like the actual type of planets that you end up having is also much more important now than what it's ever been. Like if you go to one of the other planets, like this here is a desert planet, and so I can't focus on food here. I'm going to have to do other things, and so it just doesn't warrant that. But again, it feels good, like when you're actually playing it. What's the other one that we've got? We've only got 3, and so this one here has got like a lot of scientific abilities we can sort of then go and add into it. It's just beautifully done. The other thing as well, which I really like, is that I always used to ignore the little worlds like this one through here because these were just a waste of space. But now you set them up not as core worlds, but just as colonies. And then this one I haven't done because it only is going to give me, if I hover over that one, just a couple of minerals, 2 minerals, and a little bit of influence, cultural significance. So it's not going to add much. But if I do go and settle that one, I don't then have to look after it. Well, then it will almost be like a mining station, like where these things are sort of giving me minerals back into Divinia. This would then give its minerals across to Divinia, but it will cost me one of my citizens. And so I probably really should go and grab one of these to bring them across. But there's just so many layers into the actual game itself. It really is really cool. So yeah, the planets are great. They're simplified again in so many ways, but still got with a lot of complexity if you do want them. So they haven't dumbed the game down. They've actually just simplified aspects of the game. Okay, so yeah, Phoebus is saying it's not even a good auto battler if you can't set any formation for your ships. Agree 100% agreement. Now I've listed a I've just gone up the top through here. I'll just read a few more. So, yeah, sorry, I've missed a fair bit. Yeah, so Thor is then saying auto battle. Yep, so it has an auto battle system. Yeah, it's graphically depicting with good cinematics, but you don't control battles at all. No, you don't. It's sort of look. The best auto battle I've played is Mechabellum. That's just incredibly good, and that all comes down to the placement of your units to a large degree. Choice and placement. Another good one is a good example is Dominions. Like the Dominions game, you don't control the battles, but you do script what's going to happen in the battles. Again, has a massive bearing on what you actually do with the scripting. And so I'd love to see something simple like that put into it. Okay, so Castnar is saying running a new Galciv 4 with the latest update patch. A huge unit. Yeah, we did that one before, I think. Yep. So yeah, no, it can be massive, this game. Brian said, I got the impression that you weren't too thrilled with Gal Civ 4. Perhaps the characters were too cartoonish. That was Gal Civ 3. I hated the look of the snaffy, but I loved what they did. It just the immersion was a bit sort of blown out of the way for me. And there is a couple of little ones in this one that I don't really like, to be honest. But they're not central, whereas they were central in Gal Civ 3. I just really didn't like it. Like Gal Civ 3 bothered me. They don't bother me so much in here. So yeah, Voodoo Doug's saying that yeah, Galciv do some weird real-time auto battle system. Yep. So and then Castano was saying it has an auto battle system. Yep, we did that one. And then Fabius is saying Galciv 4 is an amazing game, but I think space battles and invasion mechanics still need to be improved for me. The invasion mechanics have undergone a big improvement. The way that they now work is that if we have a look at the Drengen worlds that we're going to be trying to take over, like Romulus 3, for example, when we hover over that one, we can now sort of see that there's actually a planetary defense that's actually there. One of the problems with the game used to be that you could actually just bring a group of space marines essentially in your transport ships, and then just load them and just basically sort of take over a world in one turn, and then just keep on bouncing around. So it didn't slow you down at all. Whereas now there's a siege mechanic, and so you can't take over a planet until you've actually taken its planetary defenses down, and your fleets do that. So if we have a look at our fleet will have a conquest rating of 3, and so this fleet of 8 ships will take, what's that, 100 and a few turns, 102 turns to bring this planet down. And so that gives the Drengens 100 odd turns to build up a fleet to then come and destroy us. So the one turn takeovers are going to be very, very rare in this game. To get around that, what we now have is another class of ships which have been added in, which is the siege ships. And so these come in with 12. So each one of these ships brings 12 conquest into the actual fight. And so you would then have to bring the siege ships in before you then bring in the transport ships, which are then have got the troops. So it's more intricate, it's slower. So I actually think that I'm actually really interested in what they've done with this. I think they've done a great job of correcting the problem that they had previously and adding it. Remember, if you've played Galciv 4, by the way, and I don't know when this came in, I didn't play much of the actual release of Galciv 4. This is not Galciv 4. This is Galciv 4 Supernova, and there's been a lot of mechanics that have been added in that really have enhanced the actual Galciv 4 experience, I guess. And I don't know if this is one of them, but this is a big, big change in terms of of what actually does go on. So Andrew Taylor is saying, I'm a fan of how physical Distant Worlds 2 feels compared to others. Solaris especially storing Unity. What the WF does that mean? And using it to enact empire-wide. Yeah, I agree with you. I do love the simulation feel of Distant Worlds 2. Absolutely love it. Now where are we up to? So Gracian's saying, what is planet building like? Yeah, we did that one, I think. Sorbical saying Galciv 4 is heading in all the right directions but still needs more work. I worry Stardock have got a bit distracted with all the alien GPT stuff. I was worried about that. They haven't gone far enough with that for me, to be honest. I think it needs more work. It's funny because again the guide that sort of came before doing recordings was really, really good about how to do it, and so I did use the alien GPT in here to build a very, very quick sort of almost like a Space Marine type faction, and that worked well. Where it doesn't work well, in fact, if we just go, we showed this a couple of months ago, I think, when it first came out, but it's improved, but still nowhere near where it needs to be. I don't think. I like what it does within the limitations of what it does. So if we just go back out to the main menu, abandon. Yes, we'll go that way. Okay, we'll just go to new game. So this is the character, like the thing that was sort of set up for using the Alien GPT, but it's so fast to build a pretty good sort of system. The trouble with it is, if we just go across to, custom civilization, there's a few little tricks at the moment, and I hope that they clean these up. I don't know if they'll be able to or not, but the tricks are that you need to set up what you want. In terms of your biology, all of these other different sorts of aspects before you do anything else. So you need to go before you do the generate. You need to sort of go and set, whether it be progressivism, whatever else it might actually be, carbon based or silicon based, whatever the actual thing might actually be. The logo will change, the visuals will change, even the planet types. Just sort of make sure that you are choosing what sort of system you're actually wanting before you do go actually into it. Just click on done. Types that you might actually have, whatever it might actually be. So however you want to sort of run that aspect of it, even your behaviors, just make sure you got all of these. This is what I was doing wrong, was to sort of I wasn't setting all these. The abilities as well, set those up. The citizens, really important that you go and choose. You don't get a choice of it doesn't build citizens for you, and I hope it will at some point in the future. So it doesn't actually do that aspect. So you would need to go in and actually choose something appropriate. In this case, we'd have to choose the yaw. So I think that's the scribe. Where's the yaw? Not seeing the yaw in there. There it is. No, that's still not there. Where's the? Oh, there they are. So you would need to then choose something applicable for who you're playing as. So it's not great if you're trying to do something really wildly different because it won't build the citizens for you. Again, you're choosing all these different things before you get started. Choose the setups for everything, and then you come back to the biology, and with all of this one sort of done, and then you just give it prompts like ChatGPT. So evil robotic overlords. You put any sort of flavor, that like pink things, whatever you want. But once you've got everything else set up, you then just generate, and it will then do the cosmetics for you. And so it will then, so it's trying to generate, it's trying to sort of get like the names and things. Here we go. So embrace the pink revolution. I mean, that was a bit silly what I sort of wrote in there. So if I just click on done, it will then sort of have like a, it'll then try to pick images that it thinks would be applicable. This doesn't do a good job of this at the moment as well. So they're trying to find matching leader groups. So they're seeing that the robots, like these aren't robots. That's not a robot. If I choose this one, I can go for more images if I'm not happy with any of these. So a lot of these aren't robots. These aren't generated on the fly. These have been pre-generated for use. I'll just grab this one here as an example, or that one there. Let's click on done. These have been trained using all of the old Stardock images, by the way. So we'll just click on done, and it's got the logo in through that side. So it will now sort of bring these back in. So we now actually have. If we're happy enough with this one, we can just sort of keep this one there. But that's the the Pink Tech Dominion, the ruthless faction of robotic overlords, revels in their love of all things pink. Yeah, so it then just fleshes out the detail for you, which is actually not bad. As long as you've got those limitations in mind, it actually works well. If you are thinking that you want this Alien GPT to build everything for you, that's not here. I don't know if it will come. I sort of hope that it will at some point, but I don't think much. Like from what I can sort of see with the development of the game, there's not a lot really being put, a lot of effort now being put into this. There's other things that they're working on. So yeah, it's interesting to sort of see what's going on with it. Anyway, that's the I'll just go back out. But that's the Alien GPT, which is, again, it's unique. They do a lot of innovative things with Gal Civ and or with any of their games, really. They always have. Anyway, but the limitations for me were play with humans, nice and easy, change what I wanted, and I end up with sort of like an imperial ascendancy, devoted disciples of the God Emperor basically for the playthrough, which works nicely. So that worked really, really simply to actually sort of get that one done. Just go back out of there and exit out of that one. Reading a few more. Sorry, I'm going to have to sort of rattle through these. Where did I get up to? So Silvercall saying Gal Civ 4 is heading in all the right directions, but still needs some more work. Got to get distracted with all the Alien GPT stuff. I think I would have been focused on it at that point in time, but I haven't seen any real focus on that one since they worked on it. And they'll still really need to sort out the combat and make designing new spaceships meaningful. It's sort of it's not there yet. That bit of it's not there yet. And so baseline is then saying waiting for Gal Civ 4 2.0. Too many changes every time patch comes in. Agree with that as well. It really is. The state of flux with the game is actually really quite high, and the game is actually due for launch within the next 3 months. I feel that may be too close personally, but we'll see what actually happens there. Phobos is then saying it's not even a good auto battler if you can't set any formation of your ships. Yep, agree with that one. One can make deep auto battle systems. Just look at Dominions. Absolutely, 100%. And also Mechabellum. Mechabellum's unbelievable. Like just with how simple that actually is. Designed to be played and designed to be set up in seconds and then played against other people, and it works. It does that just brilliantly. Thanks there for the super chat. Haven't got down to there yet. Just popped up at the top there. Very much appreciated. But yeah, Dominions really is like as an auto battler. That's a complex auto battler, but they should be able to do simple type things. I think the challenge for Stardock is how do you make something that's meaningful for small numbers of ships, like what we're playing with in that particular rendition, that we were playing with there. But then once you sort of are deep into the game and you've got like maybe you might have 50 ships in your fleet, how do you make that also meaningful as well? So there's got to be, and Endless Space didn't do a good job of that one. Endless Space really, I think their auto battle system was one of the worst I've seen. And Stardock's is almost non-existent, where all of the decision making is really done before you get into the battle. So I hope that they can work on that one through there. Okay, so Brian is saying there are so many good games nowadays, it's hard to play just one. And then you get pulled between getting deep into a game versus playing another one. You only so much time. It is hard, it's hard. And so Brian's saying, especially with a wife, she takes so much time away from my gaming. Yeah. So Bit of Dog saying, I don't know, the scale of this game just seems off. Distance of planets to stars versus distance. Again, put your mind into we're playing a board game, and that's your head has to be in that space. That it's a board game that you're playing, and I think once you approach it from that board game mindset, all of those things then make perfect sense. But if you're trying to think of it in terms of a simulation or something that's real, it doesn't make sense. And so no, it's I think it's so interesting. I find it so interesting that every single game, people will play it in different ways, but if you approach a game in a certain way, all of those things dissolve away as issues because you're actually approaching it the way that the game is designed to be approached. And in this case, Stardock have mentioned board game as what they were, as an important word for them, and so I've embraced that, to be honest, and I've enjoyed the game so much more by embracing the word board game than simulation, and it's I hope that helps. Okay, so Foodadoc saying many of the stars are just too close to one another. Not in a board game. In a board game sense, they work quite well. The proximity of the stars dictates your initial expansion. It also dictates all sorts of different things. By the way, you don't have to. There is ways to play it so that you can actually push things further apart, not dramatically. But I think for me, the balance of what they've done has been pretty amazing, really, for what the breadth of what they've done. So Mariner saying, damn, this designer wants me to play Master of Orion again. Yes. So Voodoo saying, I see the scale does not really matter because the game is more like a board game, like you said. Yeah. So sorry, these comments are from a long time ago. Instead of realistic immersion. Yes. Look, it's one of those things. I actually had troubles with Distant Worlds, to be honest. When the Distant Worlds 2 first came out, I really didn't like the scale of the planets and the ships in that. I felt that was really, really off, and I felt that the planets needed to be like only 1/3 of the size that they actually were presented. And I argued very, very heavily in the beta process for that to be changed down to the point where I sort of thought, this is, it's just crazy having these monstrously large planets that you're squeezing around the side of. But I can now sort of see, this is actually awesome what they've done. So I was wildly off in that one as well. So it's just funny how it sort of does work. Castner saying Gal Civ has always been a weapons versus defense setup, so point defense versus missile, shield versus energy, and armor versus kinetics. Yeah, it's sort of, and it's still got that. I think, and I'm not 100% sure, but I still think it's got the. What it does is if you're using, for example, shields against missiles, it protects at the square root of whatever the shield number is. So if you've got a shield rating of 9, it will do 9 protection against a beam attack coming in. But it will only do 3 protection against a missile attack or a kinetic attack. I think that's still how it works. Alexander's saying, so will combat be a separate instance or just rolled out on the main map? Combat in Gal Civ, it does just go to an auto battle system. You can just go to quick battle and just get the results because it's already been played out. You're just looking at at a replay of it. So it's not intricate. It's not like playing Age of Wonders where you're going from the strategic map into a tactical map and then playing for an hour to then come back out. The whole goal of what Stardock is wanting to do with their auto battles is to have a quick way of presenting what actually happened in a streamlined way. It's just too streamlined for me. That's the problem I actually have with it. Okay, so Castner is saying, I think it's more when you're building your fleet, not necessarily the ship, although ship design plays it into fleet design as well. Yeah, it does. It's sort of interesting. Voodoo Dog saying, show the big battle video. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to do it, actually. I'll just go back up to, where did I miss that one? So I'm still a little way off. God, I'm so far back in the actual chat. I might bring the chat across so you can sort of see what I'm up to. That way I can actually just show it off to the side and talk about it. I think it was in here somewhere. Yeah, show the big battle video. That was on a Discord server, and it would be hard for me to find it, to be honest. And that was actually part of the Gal Civ commenting, and there would be thousands of comments in front of that one now. So it would mean sort of scrolling back through to actually look to actually find it. But that was very interesting. Like that was probably, they had big ships. They had like the massive dreadnoughts. They had heaps of fighters and all sorts of stuff actually fighting from both sides. I would love to be able to show something like that, but I don't actually have access to that video. So Alexander is saying Gal Civ 2 was kind of tactical though. Yeah, I think that Gal Civ 2, that was when they started to use the rock paper scissors. It became too wildly unbalanced. Like it was sort of one of those things where you ended up sort of specializing in one particular type of attack or defense, and it was interesting because you felt that you were making good strategic choice in the actual game itself, but it didn't really. The balance of it was off, and Gal Civ 3 they went the other way where they made it too soft. My judgment's out for me yet about Gal Civ 4. Okay, so Alexander's saying at least you as a player could watch a cinematic replay of the battle, which you can still do. And it was not perfect, but it was almost a 20-year-old game. Gal Civ 2 was a revolutionary game. There's a lot of really revolutionary mechanics in that one. So Battleman saying to Alexander, it's an updated version of Gal Civ 2.3 system. It works differently and looks a lot better. Stardock is still tweaking it here and there. And just for a point of disclosure, Battle Mode is now working with Stardock on things. So he's not allowed to say anything nasty. No, it's sort of look. To be honest, again, I rib battle mode or Ben a lot in these sessions, and it's but we do communicate an awful lot. We have our love of specific games is almost identical, but we focus on very, very different things, and it's really quite interesting because we actually do have disagreements on all sorts of different things. But no, it's and look, as I said before at the start of this, if you're wanting to look at some good Galciv videos, then Ben has actually got a lot that's just come out in the recent days and weeks. So have a look at those. So yeah, Battlemode's saying the rock paper scissors thing is gone now. It works differently. I think it's still there to a degree, I believe. I may be wrong about that. So you'd know more than I would, Ben, as to whether that's there. So there is a cinematic view. Yes, there is. When you play the top-down view, you can actually switch to cinematic and actually play it, so you can actually sort of see it from 3D angles, and you can pause it and go and have a look to see what's happening, and so on and so forth. Not that it really gives you any. There's no reason to do it other than just it looks good. That's the only reason to do it, because you don't have any choice. It's not like you're analysing to try to think, okay, I need to position those fighters further back from the front, so that by the time they get in with their kinetic weapons, the missiles have already had their first volley coming in. There's none of that sort of intricacy with it. I wish there was, but that's where even just the placement for me would be a massive, massive improvement to be able to impact. That way, when looking at those, looking at the battles would then be actually meaningful. But at the moment, it's just a bit of fluff, and so that's pretty much all it is. Okay, so Vidadog's saying, wait, this game has no multiplayer. Didn't Part 3 have multiplayer? Seems like a huge backstep. They're going to have multiplayer, I believe. I'm not sure when that's coming. There's a few things that aren't in here yet. Workshop is not in here yet, but they're building the mod support in right now. So there's a lot of things. I actually thought I was going to be able to build a mod and show mod building, because the mod building in the game is really, really good. But they've turned all that off, and I think multiplayer has been turned off as well. So it's early access, and really consider it early access. I do worry about it launching within 3 months, because I think there's a lot of things to do to get it launch ready. It's great what it is, but it's still a lot to do. So then Battle Mode is sort of saying this isn't really an auto battle, it's more of a simulation, that's graphically represented. That's pretty much it. It was mentioned the other day that it was like a die roller, like a glorified die roller, and it sort of is that. But yeah, it's not really an auto battle system. It sort of is, but it sort of isn't. I wish it was more of an auto battler. Still better than nothing, says Alexander. And then Ben saying the combat all takes place on a strategic map. Tactical combat wouldn't work in a game like Gal Civ. If you want a comparison, imagine every combat in Gladius being tactically played. It'd be a nightmare. Sort of. I'll disagree slightly with you there, Ben. Just for form's sake more than anything. William Thomas is saying, thinking that Stellaris might be better at battles than Gal Civ, not a good thing. Not really into auto battles. Again, it's something I was dead against it. And Ben will attest to this one. We used to argue black and blue about. I wanted a tactical battle system in Gal Civ. I now no longer want that, based on what I've seen with the scope of what the game can be. It can be enormous, and having tactical battles, I guess I still would like them, but with an option to then just play them out, so that they become more of an option to play if you're wanting to, more than more than not. But I can now understand why there's no tactical battle system in the game. It would literally slow the game down to an absolute crawl, and that's, again, if you're thinking in terms of board game type games, that's not what this game is about. Vidadog saying, so wow, so you're able to create multiple galaxies. That seems quite cool. It's incredible. I'll show you again. I'll just move that off to the side. I'm miles behind in these comments, guys, so you're probably commenting away, and I'm not going to get there for a little while. Just bear with me. I'll just see. I'll show you just what you can do with this. This is phenomenal. Again, all these little changes. This is so much better than Gal Civ 2, miles and miles better than Gal Civ 3, and heaps better than Gal Civ 4 when it released. Gal Civ 4 did actually have these sectors in the galaxy. So the let's want to open. There we go. Just let her in. So So we go to new game, and just go next. So you've got all these different sorts of things in through here, where you've got like the Galaxy difficulty, game pacing. Essentially, like this sort of impacts like how fast you can manufacture things, the research rates, etc. So you've got all these different little sorts of things which you sort of expect in games. But Startup always does a good job of these. Then you've got the encounters, like how many minor races you're going to get, how many hostile entities, civilization proximity. Like this is actually with the groups that are actually in your own sector. So you can actually play where you've actually got either having them all compressed into the sector, or where essentially you might only have one or two in a sector. So depending on how you want to play, you can play different ways. So the default, I think, was others in sector there, which means that you're always going to have at least some threat in your current sector if you play on the default settings. Galaxy size. Galaxy is the wrong word here. This should be sector size. So this is how big the actual sector are that you're going to be overall playing in. And then the number of sectors is how many you can actually have. So if I go to enormous galaxy size or sector size and many, many sectors, and then have a look at the star frequency. Actually, I'll leave that one occasional. Again, these are the sorts of things where you can start to sort of push these around. And actually, if you had the star frequency to be a lot less, then you'll end up with more distance between the stars. Again, with habitable planets, extreme planets, and resources, all of these things can be tweaked with your actual galaxy setup. But check this out. Just check how big this actually is. So up to 95 players. Okay, and I've only got 20 players that I can play with in the actual game at this point in time. But if you created more Alien GPT players, you'd be able to have it up to 95. But you can play with just one. I can get rid of all of these and just have one player if we wanted to, and just try to find each other in this massive, massive game. In fact, let's do that. So if I just go back and start, actually, I'll do it from the top in here. So the choice is up to how you want to play it. So we're playing with one other player in here, but it's going to start in the same sector that we're in, I'm thinking. So if we start the game, because of the way we had set up before. So this is and this is just to show just how crazy you can go with the game. So it's now sort of building the galaxy. It's really thinking here. It's grinding away. I'll just read a few more of the comments in that case. Where did I get up to? Oh, here we go. So this is us, basically, this location. So so we come into here. This is the sector that we're in. So that's our galaxy, but that's the sector that we're actually in at this point in time. We can only sort of see this little area that around in here. That's what we've actually spotted. So let's go and use a cheat. We'll use the Fog of War cheat. And so we've now sort of used that one. And we now are aware of the Drengen because we've now got the Fog of War. There they are. So that's the Drengen. So Drengi is back in here. So this is actually the same sector that we're in. So we've both, because of the settings that we had set up, where we had in the same sector, we're going to start in the same sector as at least one other group. But the actual galaxy itself is this big. So all of these, there's actually star lanes that connect all of these together. And so these are areas that nobody's in. And so even playing a weird game like this would then mean that you've actually got all of this stuff. If you're wanting to expand, like however you want to do it, you can sort of then just go and do it. I don't know why there's a black. I've never seen that before. It may be the grid actually. I think it's the hex. It's the grid that's actually in there. I've got all that turned on. But these are because of the setup that we had. We ended up with just we're fighting in this little sector, but all the others would become available to us. And I can't remember what there's cheats to sort of turn on all the other different bits and pieces. I used to have them all written down, but I don't actually have them written down. But that's the scope of the biggest galaxy, but with only one other player. If we go and change what we just did there, if we go back to the main menu and go to new game, just as an example, and keep all these settings on the same, but we then go and change these to be distant or far with proximity, and then just leave everything else the way it is, just go to next and just start the game again. And while we're doing that, I'll just read a few more of the comments. Okay, it's Battlemate saying to Voodoo Dog that multiplayer comes at the end of the month. There we go. So I wasn't sure of the timing for that one. Yep, and talking about the multiple galaxies. So these are multiple sectors. So it's all just one big galaxy, but essentially it's just different sectors in the galaxy. And so it sort of plays. The thing I like about this is you've got the openness of being able to move around in a hex system without the constraints of star lanes, but then you've got star lanes into other big areas again. So the actual, and most of the game is just played in, without the limitations of the actual star lanes themselves. So if we have a look at this one again, I'll just click on done and bring in the Fog of War in here. Whoops, wrong keyboard. FOW. And close that one off. There he is again. And so in this case, they're not in here, we're in here alone. We've got a massive, there they go, they're alone in here, in this one through this side. So we would actually be connected ultimately into there, but we don't know which sector they would be in. So they've actually got a very nice, I don't even know where they are. This is a monstrously big one that they're actually in. Anyway, you get the idea of that one. If I go back out, and I'll show you even a bit more tweaking with all of this stuff, if I just go yes, and just go into new game. Next. And let's change the galaxy size down to tiny, but still keep the number of sectors in many. Keep all this stuff so we end up in different sectors. Just go to next. Up to 67 players now, so we'll just get rid of most of these. Keep the Drengis in there. Start the game. And so what we end up now is a much faster start, of course, because there's not as much in here. Got to keep on pressing the wrong thing. Fog of War. And so we actually end up with the sectors themselves are now much, much smaller. So, and the actual galaxy is much, much smaller, but you've still got like multiple sectors. So these got like this hardly, like in terms of the scale of where we were, we've now got we're now playing a game where star lanes would actually be important between the different sectors. You can see there that these are tiny, tiny little sectors. There's hardly anything in these. So it makes it for almost like a pocket game. But then, of course, you can play it again so many other different ways. If we go back and just go, yes, back into here, go back to new game, let's go next, and change the number of sectors to just a singular sector in a tiny galaxy. That won't have any bearing now, but I'll just put it back to the same thing and through here. Just go next. Can only play up to 3 players, so we'll just get rid of that one. Start the game. I'm done, and that's it. That's the whole game. If we just do the Fog of War here. Go, come across them again, so there they are over this side this time. But that's it. Like that's the whole. So the whole game is now just played out in this one little area. So tiny little area. Just do Fog of War back again. But that is the so the scope of what the game brings in is, as I say, just absolutely phenomenal. It's just amazing what it's now got, and that's yeah, I don't know, it blows my mind actually. The fact that you can sort of have that much variation. I've never seen a game that's got that sort of scope of what you can go and do. Anyway, that's that side. We'll just exit the game again now. Hang on, I'll just go. I'll just read a few more of the comments. I'll just drag these across. It's probably easier for me to just read them out. So if I do miss any of your comments, I do apologise. Battlemate's sort of saying that Stellaris War system utterly sucks compared to Gal Civ, in my opinion. They're not even comparable. I haven't played Stellaris for such a long time. I don't know, like Distant Worlds 2 sort of scratched all those itches for me. Basically saying, hope Gal Civ 4 introduces some kind of ground battle visuals. Even rudimentary would be cool. That would be good, actually. And Battlemate is just saying he is biased. He is no, he's not. I always find Ben actually he does speak his mind. So even though I would actually say you're not biased. Other than through fanboy bias like I am with Age of Wonders. Voodoo Dog saying that was the thing with Gal Civ 4 versus... what's that thing about Gal Civ 4 versus 4.5? Does that mean the Steam version is old? Sorry, I didn't fully get what you said. Okay, so what it is the game came out a year and a bit ago on the Epic Game Store as Gal Civ 4. They had exclusive there for a year, and so in that year, Stardock then started to build more and more things into Gal Civ 4. When it came time to release it into Steam, they released it as Gal Civ 4 Supernova, and then sold the changes back to the Epic Game Store people as an expansion. So Gal Civ 4 Supernova is actually like a Gal Civ 4.5, and that was the version. You can't get the original Gal Civ 4 on Steam. You only can get the Supernova version, and so that's essentially where you are with that one through there. So it's confusing, but it's not the same. Like if you've got the Epic Game Store version, to get all the other extra things that have come into it since the launch of the game, you do need to get the Supernova version, which is an expansion on Epic, but not available on Steam because Steam is the Supernova version. You can't get the original game on Steam, if that makes any sort of sense. It's a bit confusing, but that's so we're sort of starting right from the start there. So Battlemate saying you didn't go for Catgirls like nearly every other Gal Civ 4 player then. There's an amazing arrangement of different things, isn't there? Alexander saying sucking a battle system is like a feature of any Clausewitz game, though. I'm not sure what you mean there with that one. So it's Ben's just entering back saying it's not the battles, it's the warfare in general that is weak. Node-based 4X needs more than Stellaris offers. Okay, so you're talking more about the... Clausewitz is the engine that Paradox uses. Otherwise, you're just playing around with choke points only. There's no tactics to it. Alexander's saying true, but it's on the positive side, it works well in multiplayer. Yeah, multiplayer, like Stellaris is very, very good with multiplayer. That will be coming to Gal Civ, and so Gal Civ, again, with it being more of a board games type feel, is going to be, it should be good for multiplayer, I think. Puppy's are saying the invasion mechanic troop transport system is a problem for AI. It's either sending transport ships alone allows players for easy picks or at all. Yeah, I've noticed that even now, the game I'm actually playing, it is actually got the has got the I found a siege ship that was hardly protected at all, so trying to travel towards my systems. It's early on in the game, but I'm going to wait and see what actually happens. I'm only playing it on normal mode. I'm not playing it on any sort of difficulty though. So the game I'm finding actually fairly challenging, even on normal mode. It ramps up quite dramatically. Okay, where are we? Okay, we've got Fabius is into saying I'm playing Gal Civ 4 Supernova Insider build, so I'm familiar with features and differences. Yeah, it's cool, isn't it, with that? So people are saying, have they sorted out citizens yet? So they matched your generator race? No, they haven't. Yeah, they haven't done that. I don't think if they will. I'm thinking, because I was going to mod that in. I was going to resurrect the old Daz bots from when I used to do the Gal Civ 3 playthroughs, but the modding's not available yet. Battleman's answering something to me, saying Stardock are keeping a dev team on Gal Civ 4 Supernova after release to keep working on the game like Paradox do. Brad was talking about this in our podcast. Yeah, no, that's actually fairly cool. And they're the same team that worked on Gal Civ 2, I think. Was that you that told me that? And they're adding new art to the Alien GPT all the time. Yeah, it's for me, the art is not the problem, it's the citizens. The citizens are the biggest issue. And also I would love to be able to then go and choose the parameters for you, and then you can then come back in and tweak them. I do like that they're using AI to enchant their game and not to replace game crafting. Yeah, and also it's not just the descriptions either. Like when you read the stuff about the Alien GPT, it also changes the dialogue used by factions within the game, so it actually goes deeper than what we think. But I'm saying a lot of that a Nazi Picard, pretty much, yes. Evil Picard from season 2 of Picard. says Sithel. Alexander saying that's just. I was sort of just trying to. I was trying to just do something fairly quick, and I saw that the image. I thought, yeah, that'll do. I didn't think about Picard. It does look a bit like him, doesn't it? Alexander's saying that's just totally turning me off the game. I always prefer a fewer rather than truly different race, but truly different races that play differently. That's still there. Like the Alien GPT doesn't handle citizens, but you've got a choice of about 20 different play styles, and they do all play very, very differently. It's sort of one of those things when the more you play it, it sort of you do notice, like with the diplomacy, for example, the way that they sort of do interact. It's I quite like the way that they're fleshed out, to be honest. But I just wish that there was more. You know, like with if you got Alien GPT, I would love it to do the citizens aren't immersive unless you actually choose to go with one of the existing 20-odd factions that you've actually got in the game. I think there's more than 20. I can't remember exactly how many there are. I think there will be more than 20. There's still a few more to release. Again, thanks for the super chat there, Brian. Very much appreciated. So great work. Wondering what you think of Shadows of Forbidden Gods. That's a really amazing game as well. Like that's a very, very interesting and intricate game. I'll come back to that. Shadows of Forbidden Gods. I've got it in here somewhere. There it is there. Because that's recently had more content sort of added to it. And I think even though it's actually officially launched, that's also got more coming into it as well. This is a fascinating game in terms of, and I've got to get my head back into to sort of play it again, because you don't play as armies, you play as agents who work in amongst an actual existing sort of civilization, which is actually other civilizations, and you're more sort of, it's almost like a spy system that you set up within it, but you've got also different characters. It's actually, that's a brilliant game. Like, it's just incredible what it does do. Again, very much a board game mechanic feel to that one as well. You guys are pretty sick of me saying board game style games now. I've really embraced it since I started playing Gal Civ. Okay, Alexander's saying the systems like in Stellaris or A2-4, you basically just choose a picture and the traits are just some percents, plus or minus. Is so bland and everything you play plays the same. Yeah, this is not the case with Gal Civ. If that's what you're referring to. There's ideologies, and the ideologies have been fleshed out dramatically. It's not just the good, neutral, evil that they used to have. That's actually, and these all interplay with all sorts of different things. It's much deeper than when you look at it, and it plays within those parameters underneath the hood as well. So there's a lot going on there. But I'm saying, imagine how long it would take to set up an auto battle combat in the late game, though. I'm not sure what that's going to happen. The fun in the combat needs to come from fleet design and composition. Yeah, I disagree with that. I disagree, Ben. I think it's got to come from, you've got to have some way of actually impacting it. What I love about Mechabellum is that you build on what you've already got scripted, and Dominion does the same thing. So it's not as if you would have to dramatically script it, and you should be able to have things where you say, like, all fighters do this, or all bombers, delay your move, for this amount of move, or stay hidden, like if there's some sort of hidden mechanic or something. It's got to be some way of giving some basic interaction. It doesn't have to be very involved. It doesn't have to be sort of like you have to choose this ship to fire at or anything like that. But I think it does need to have some. The player should be able to have some impact before battle starts, in my opinion. Okay, Alexander's saying Sins of the Solar Empire. That's how you do it. 3 races, everyone completely different with their own units and tech tree, all play differently. Yeah, that's great. That's another one of them that's coming as well. So Sins of the Solar Empire 2 is on the way. Someone told me that this has been a horrible year for gaming, and all they have to look forward to was the new Spider-Man. I shook my head. Great. So exactly, the strategy genre has just been incredible the last few years. Unbelievably good. But I was saying to Paul that I think people who only play AAA games say that indie games and AA stuff like we're into, it's been amazing. It really is. We're in a golden era at this stage. Great year for RPGs for sure, says Alexander, and Paul's saying maybe too cerebral for most people. I think that may be the case. Sorry guys, it's still going to be miles back up in here somewhere. Here we are, back in here. Right, so Sithel's then saying you can play Stellaris species very different, at least if you have all the DLCs, like insane people like me, and I think one really should lean to a species specifically in Stellaris. Yeah, so Ben was saying no, it doesn't work that way now. I'm not sure what you're referring to with that one. But yeah, if you're referring to the ideologies, that is really now quite different. And the factions do play very, very differently. Kastner saying that's what he said in the last video series. So Ben saying the different weapon types and projections are geared towards one another still, but they're not such hard counters as they were. So Alexander saying the Zephon demo is gone from Steam. Yeah, it would have. It was only there for a week, I think, a week or two. I've still got the game for when it does actually release. So the version I've got is for when they release new content that I'm allowed to play. So it's still on my system, but where have I got it? Yeah, I've still got it there under there. But it's so it's a different version than the demo version. But I only had access to the demo. I haven't tried opening it since that time. So hi Victor, saying apparently I'm not too late to say hi everyone. Durang is saying hi back. Gaston saying, can I post a couple of pictures to show the potential scope of the galaxy? Actually, we've already covered that one, so I'm not sure. I don't know if you can do it in here. I think that my Discord would probably be the best way to do those sorts of conversations, to be honest, if people wanted to go there for ongoing sort of chat. I should actually push that one more. There is a link, I think, in the description to my Discord. So Phobius is saying that Galciv 2 is my favourite game from the series, so I need to disagree with you, Daz. And Valamir is saying hi back. They've got Zark saying back from lurk mode. Are we playing as Picard? There we go, another question about that one. I didn't think of that, I didn't think of that at all. What's Daz Victor on Galciv? Get now or wait a bit? Look, it's I'm loving it, to be honest, but I know that there's going to be a lot of changes, so it's very much like getting a game that's not ready. Like there was a comment, I forget who mentioned it, further up about that, prefer to wait for version 2 because of the amount of changes that are coming with each major iteration, and there are a lot. So it's sort of one of those things that may piss you off to start playing and then realise this is not the game that I was playing a month ago. So it's up to you. I like it a lot. It's very polished. There are certainly some gaps in what it does, and I hope that they do fix those. But it's been a really good experience for me, and treating it as an early access game. But as you say, the changes are coming very, very thick and fast. Voodoo Dog saying, I think galaxy size is the right word. It gives you this game a really cool savage scale. So you think galaxy is the right word? Okay, it's for me. It was because it really impacted the sectors for me. Maybe it doesn't. It's Battlemate saying it is galaxy size. The sector sizes are randomised based on that. I think okay, that would make sense because that last lot we didn't get that much in there, did we really? But you have but if you have a tiny galaxy with lots of sectors, they'll be quite small. Yeah, which is with what Quill18 was doing in his Let's Play today. I haven't seen Quill's stuff. So Battlemoon's saying, yeah, that map is going to take a long time to generate. Very, very large. I think we're still miles behind where we were. You can imagine the pathfinding cost. Yeah, blah blah blah. Yeah, a lot of code magic going on in there as well. How many years would it take to finish a map like that? Yeah, exactly. I would never want to play it. Yeah, Saboska saying so unrealistic. There has to be sentient life out there. So Voodoo Dog saying, damn, that really is cool, the galaxy size. It's amazing the scope that you actually have with playing with that one. Zark's saying, cat girls, why did this not occur to me? Because coming back with meow. Adrian has then sort of said Galactic Civ 4 ships look like they're made of Lego cubes, and that's always bothered me. It's funny, cause when they first brought that in, I think it was in Gal Civ 2 was when they brought the first of the ship designers in. I did find it clunky, but I've actually, just with playing with it, I actually really like it. Yes, it is something where you combine it, but they do look good, in my opinion. For something you can build from the scratch, it really does look. I think you can do a lot with it. I'm looking forward to seeing what people do in the Steam Workshop. I hope that they actually very easily differentiate between ships, ship classes, civilizations that people would be modding, and so on and so forth. Victor's saying the bestest dog boys for the win. But I'm saying Adrian, zoom in on them and look again. Yeah, there is a lot of detail in them now than what there was before. So we're saying, Daz, I use an AI art generator to build custom citizen portraits for Galactic Civ 4. It's a bit of faff, but it does sort of work. Yes, except that I was trying to do that for myself, and I couldn't actually. I couldn't figure out where to put them. Actually, no, I could put it. No, sorry, I was trying to build a mod, like an actual civilian mod, and not just the actual look of them. So yeah, so no, it was a bit different when I was looking at it. So Serenity's saying I love board games, so I'm sold on Gal Civ 4. Yeah, look, as I say, I'm enjoying it, and having that mindset certainly does help. But I'm saying I think some limited ship targeting mechanic would be really fun. I agree with that, to be honest, especially for the later battles when there are a lot of ships in each fleet. The battles become very impressive, and it'd be nice to have some control for sure. Hi, David. How are you going? Kastner's saying, yep, not a problem. And on posting pics, you've already covered anyways. Yep, that's okay. Guy Bellaby saying, but is Gal Civ 4 up there with Marble Run? No, nothing compares to Marble Run. So we need a Warhammer 40k race to eradicate the Xenos and Furies. Look, all those things to be modded in, and I just had one that I wanted to bring in that felt like it would play a little bit more like the and I just randomly sort of thought I'd just make it like a Space Marines type thing. You know, what are their ideologies? What's important to them? And that's I just went from there really, without really thinking about it too much. But there's an awful lot. But yeah, there'll be an awful lot of content coming, I would imagine, in the workshop over time. So I think the game will just get bigger and bigger over time as well. But it is still early days for Gal Civ, but it is looking very, very impressive. I'll just move that off to the side now. Okay, so we're caught up. We're caught up with the chat, which is I didn't think I would. When I sort of looked to see how much I had to get through, I was thinking, oh my God, I'm going to be here forever. Actually, we are a bit late. I think we better sort of start to get into the Marble Run. One thing I wanted to do before we get into the Marble Run was just have a quick look at the news and just sort of see if there's anything else in here that we need to have a look at. So system maintenance tomorrow, yeah, that's okay. There's nothing. Age of Wonders 4, by the way, has now been set in stone for a little while they work on the next update. So yeah, they're not going to be sort of tweaking much for, I think, this month. I think next month is probably when we start to look at something a bit more exciting. So I'm not going to be playing that one for at least another month, I don't think. Okay, patch 4 is incoming. Kerbal Space Program 2. God, this has been disappointing. Like, it really has been. Like, this has been such a shambles. Like, the way that this whole... Like, it's been taken so long to get basic things patched in Kerbal Space Program 2. It was... I saw someone had actually... equated this to is this the current new No Man's Sky? Are we with a game that is terrible at launch, is being patched really, really terribly as well, you know, with the pacing of it, but will ultimately become an absolute gem, and I hope it will be, because I love this game, but I can't play it at the moment. It's unplayable on my system. Not even because of it's not even just too slow. It just looks like absolute crap. And it's just things that people had been complaining about the same problems with AMD cards for months and months, and I don't even hold any hope out that they will actually have this fixed with this next patch that comes out. It's really, I'm being a bit scathing about it, but I'm just really disappointed with the way it's gone about. Gene Rally 2 has got some updates. I won't worry about those. No King, No Kingdom. That's I haven't played that one for a long time. That one we won't worry about. Yep, so we've got the Against the Storm with the Beaver plush editions. Caves of Cud, every week they've got an update. Here we go. So one of David's games, who was just in before. David does the PR here for Microprose. So we've got version 0.12.2.1 now available on the testers branch for Combat Arena. I'm so terrible at this game. Like I enjoy playing it. I've played it recently, or more like not too far back, just to sort of play with it. But I do struggle with it. I'm just not good enough at it. Got changes there. There's a game called I didn't really ever test this game properly. I didn't love this game. This is Together in Battle. Cosmoteer always got, like every so often there's a big patch for that one. That's a great game. This is Whisker Squadron. This is a game that's coming out in... I'm allowed to show it in about a week and a half. I'm not allowed to show anything about it right now. So anyway, there is actually... this is actually this is a bit more like a... It's a weird sort of game. It's not my type of game that I would normally play, but I still actually... It's a game I have enjoyed testing, to be honest. It's but I don't love it, but I certainly... For 5 minutes, it's great fun. Rising Lords. I've got to come back and try this one. This is a game that had so much promise when it first came out, and then when they started to build it up, it became worse, and I don't know if it's gone back to being better again. That would be an interesting one to have a look at, to see what it's actually, we might just do that. I'm in no screaming rush, so just get back into here. What was it? Rising Lords, wasn't it? Rising Lords. Let's have a look and see what it's mostly positive. Yes, there's not very many people that have been playing it, to be honest. Show the graph. Yeah, recent reviews are poorish. But you can see there, it was pretty good when it first hit. Yeah, there certainly are some negatives recently. It's probably a bit too niche to really sort of be able to do a full comparison of what's actually going on with that one. But it was a really, really interesting game, and then it just I don't know, it just sort of lost a bit. And I haven't played it for a long, long period of time. Last play to have no start region in story editor story. Yeah, I might try that one out again. It was as I say, I've been excited every time I've gone in to actually try it, and then been disappointed with it. Here we go, so that's what we've been talking about. So we've got the Gal Civ 4 Supernova. This is 1.7 early access update. It's just released. That just came out this week. So I started recording with this one. But as I say, I'm enjoying it a lot. Mechabellum updates. They've been just retweaking different things with Mechabellum. Again, awesome game. Stellaris in there. They've always got some other DLC or something that's being added. Okay, so here we go. This is actually Shadow Gambit, the Cursed Crew, is coming out. I'm allowed to show that in about 3 or 4 days. So I'm under embargo not to show this one just yet. So this is, and I'm only allowed to show very specific things because this is a walkthrough. Basically, it's a combat sort of squad-based type game, like a commando sort of style game, and but it's the best one of those I've ever seen. Like I'm really impressed with what it does do, even though it's not the type of things that I end up doing much of. That one's July. Yep, that's good. It's got Thronefall as well. Thronefall's a really surprisingly good game as well. Like that's really hit Steam very, very hard. Okay, so we'll have a bit of a look and read through more of the comments. Now, where are we up to? It'd be a battle mode saying, I feel your pain in your voice when you talk about KSP2. I still haven't played the original that much, but I really loved it. Superb game. It really was incredible. Kastner saying the Kerbal campaign isn't even available yet, is it? No, it's not. It's just, I don't know, it's just disappointing. Like, that they launched it probably 2 years before they should have, to be honest. Like the way it sort of has come through, it's really, really poor. Yeah, seems like it rushed way too early, says Ben. Yeah, it really was. Tenor is saying, how does Kerbal 2 compare to Kerbal 1? Is it worse than is it worse than it? Is it just a cash grab? It is. It's. I think that they ran out of money, or that they needed to get a cash injection, and so they released it. But it wasn't ready at all, like not even slightly. It's sort of funny because I was in the I'm not in the inner circle of streamers who show off Kerbal Space Program. So I had an early-ish version of it, but I wasn't part of the actual launch group of people that actually had it. And I'm so glad I wasn't, because they went to a lot of expense for that inner group to actually, I think they flew them somewhere and everything as well, so they could all play together in one great big group. And you could see on their faces they felt obligated to try to be positive about the game, but it just was shit. And it's got so much promise, but it's just not ready yet. And it's so at least I didn't feel under any obligation to didn't feel guilty about sort of saying that it's just not ready, because it's just not. Hopefully, it will be good, but it's just not ready. And Kerbal 1 is a better game at the moment. Like Kerbal 2 will be better if it gets finished, but it's when it gets finished. But it's but Kerbal 1 is actually currently the better game. So you're saying you're going to play The Last Starship from Introversion. I thought I played that one recently. Just minimize that for a second. Where have I got that one? Yeah, this is a really good game. I thought I did a video on this one just within the last couple of months. I'm pretty sure that's the game I was playing. Well, no, Star Deus is the one. Sorry. Star Deus is the better game. That's a really, really good game. The Last Starship, I haven't played much of that. I do need to play that, actually, because that's had some updates. So, yeah, sorry, I had my games confused. Okay, so for saying Rising Laws is on my radar, but it's really hard to find some actual information. It's a very good game in terms of what it could do. It just hasn't done it well yet. It did when it first launched, but it's yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. I was really excited about the game, and I do look forward to trying it again. But it's with these new changes. But it's yeah, there's certainly been some issues. But it shows that it's got a lot of. It could be a very, very good game. Zarks was saying putting Shadow Gambit on my wish list just because it has. Well, I don't play very many commando style games, but I was blown away by what Shadow Gambit did. They're not constrained by reality in the game, and it works because of that. They can do whatever they want in terms of their game design, and so they've done it more around sort of like supernatural type things, which frees them right up to make each character very, very unique and different, which is good. So it's sort of funny because I'm like, this one's coming out, but then fairly soon we're going to have the what's it called? The Stargate game going to be coming out as well, which is also going to be a I don't know if there's a Steam page for that one yet. But the Stargate game is going to be more based on reality, and I think that comparing the two would be very unfair. But it was also like, I know which one I'd prefer to be playing. I'd prefer to be playing the one with all of the different game mechanics. So if we just go back and I don't know if Stargate has even got a yeah, here we go, Stargate Timekeepers. So this one, they did actually release information about this a couple of weeks ago, and I did mean to cover it because I know some of you guys really like these sort of games. I'm not someone who really likes them. I don't like walkthroughs as much, but I did try, as I say, the other one, but I haven't really played this one at all. So, but this one is very similar, but this is more sort of based on humans that are going around doing things. It's much more of a commando sort of style game. But I did have a look at some of the information that they did release. It's not my type of game, to be honest. But the other one certainly, Shadow Gambit, I was impressed with what I did actually see. So Bannerman saying I love Introversion. I think Uplink was a genius. One of the first indie devs to really break out and get big sales. Uplink, that was years ago, wasn't it? And Vidadoc saying Shadows of Forbidden Gods looks amazing. Vidadoc saying the Stargate game looks terrible. And Cyril saying science fiction allows you to not pretty much to do not pretty much anything anyway. It's magic with a science theme. Yeah, it's not even that. Like, it's sort of I don't know. Like, I didn't really have a good look at what the information was that had come out about it, to be honest. But I'm just not looking forward to it. From what I have seen, it looks, in comparison to the freedom and flexibility that you have with something like Shadow Gambit, I can't see it having the depth of gameplay. Satina is saying they should make a Stargate game similar to Xenonauts or XCOM. That would work very well if you add different planets and limit the scope on set. Yeah, exactly. I agree 100%. When they first announced that was what they had with Stargate, I assumed that was what it was going to be. I didn't. My first assumption was it was going to be an awesome random procedural type game where you went from through the Stargate into unknown planets, and then had to sort of do different things. I could see there'd be a lot of scope with that one. And that inspired RimWorld's, what was that one? Sorry, that was Ben It's insane, really good game that they followed up with DEF CON, which I know Daz would hate, and then Darwinia. Yeah, I did enjoy Darwinia. I think their biggest selling game would be Prison Architect. Oh, that's right, they did make those as well, yeah, and that inspired RimWorld. Wasn't it the other way around? RimWorld came out before Prison Architect. I'm pretty sure Prison Architect took the graphics from RimWorld. I'm pretty sure. Hang on. I'm not sure. I can't remember the exact time that they came out, but I think that RimWorld came out first, I thought. RimWorld was inspired by Dwarf Fortress, from what I can gather. So how I could make a Stargate game, I would do it as an XCOM-like game. Yes, it's Cecil. Yeah, I agree with you. Well, guys, I think we'd better start to wind up. We're nearly 3 hours into this. Saying no. Okay, well, now we're going to have to check it out. Now that we've got an actual disagreement happening. Let's go, and we have to go back to not when RimWorld came to Steam. We have to go back to when RimWorld was actually first released. So we'll just go and do a look at them. So we've got the Prison Architect, because and I'm hoping I'm right. When did this one come through? Okay, so it was made available as a crowdfund on September the 25th, 2012. Okay, so 2012, September the 25th, 2012. Let's actually go and grab another one, and we'll do RimWorld. So when did RimWorld first actually get released? Damn it. I hate being wrong to Ben. I hate it when Ben's right. It's not allowable. Okay, I'll pay that one. So maybe there was a different version of RimWorld that if you don't know. No, okay, I'll pay that one. All right. So that's this one did actually launch afterwards. Hang on, is there any light in here that we can that I can glean from this? I'll open both of them up in good old Wikipedia. We're using Wikipedia a lot today. And come on, RimWorld. Yeah, okay. So initially released as a Kickstarter crowdfunding in November 2013, and Prison Architect was made as a crowdfunder paid alpha pre-order on September 25th. So they would have had their styling and everything done at that stage. Although they're both very, very early. So they was an entrant in the 2012 Independent Games Festival. There we go. Okay, I'll pay that one, Ben. I'll pay that one. But I'll never forgive you for that. Anyway, that's good. Ben's saying I've got to get all I can get. Okay, so Cecil's saying it's not fair, Ben. You're not allowed to use your superior memory. And Trank's saying can't get your stream to be always right against Ben. Yes. We'll have to find something different to get next time. Battleman's saying he's getting on a bit. The memory does start start going at his age. Anyway, let's leave that one. We'll leave that one with that loss, and we'll go and do a marble run again. There's no actual no prize for this one. It is literally just a marble run for bragging rights. And damn it! I meant to, before we do this, I need to get all the names. So yeah, don't diss the elderly, says Turank. Yes, Ben. I'll just go and open this one back up, and we get Restream. Actually, it's Nightbot. That's what I need. Log in with Twitch. Oh, not Twitch. Not that one. Sorry. Need to go back in again. It's log in with YouTube. Now I'm hoping. Yeah, this looks like we're okay, I think. All right, so we'll just go back into the giveaways. I'll just put the same keyword as last week, which will just be win. So we'll just do the word win. So if you guys can just add the word win into the chat, you can then be in the running. I'll just bring Sublime Text in as well. Actually, just anything, but win will be fine. I'll just put even if people don't put the word win in, I'll still just run it and see what we end up getting. So in we come. Good luck, everyone. Bad luck, Ben. You know what's going to make it even worse is that the Women's World Cup is on, and Australia have progressed to levels that they've never ever got to in the Women's World Cup before with their win against France, which was an incredible game. And they're playing England next, which is tomorrow, actually. So it's going to be so Ben will be insufferable if England wins that particular game. So yeah, just well, it's sort of actually in one sense, I'm guessing if Ben gets the win today, I can have the win tomorrow with the Women's World Cup. We go that way. So Gratian's saying, if I win the marble run, can my prize be subtracting Ben's win against you for being right? That can be it. Oh, that was good knowledge there. Ben's always got good knowledge. There we go. So we've still got a few more names coming in. Sarks is saying, go Aussies. Oh, look, it's funny at the start. I actually thought that I thought like different countries I thought were going to sort of do fairly well, and a lot of them have actually gone out of that particular thing. I thought France was going to win the whole thing, to be honest. So Australia did really well. I don't know if France was the favourites, but in my mind they were. I think Australia had a very small percentage chance of actually beating them, but they still got there in the longest penalty shootout ever for a Women's World Cup, which is just astounding. It was incredible, actually. It was funny because I was watching at home, and every time anything happened, everyone around, all the houses around us, you could hear people yelling, because hardly anything ever happens in soccer. It's actually a really boring sport in terms of actual excitement levels. So the cheering is very, very few and far between for something that actually does happen. But it was funny, all these people who don't watch soccer or aren't interested in soccer were all tuned in to watch that game, and you could just hear everyone yelling all at the same time around the neighbourhood. Anyway, let's get these names in there. So Sizzle saying, all I know is that the USA is generally very good in Women's World Cup. Yeah, but the other countries, to be honest, have been really sort of closing in on them. So they were ahead before it was developed, I guess, and they still rated the best in the world. But like Canada was Canada was defeated by Australia to knock them out of the World Cup, and they're the Olympic champions. I think France was. I don't know if they were the Europeans. Anyway, Australia's really, really on a roll, which I'm really interested in. Sapio saying it's football. There's too many different types of football for it to be called football. So I'm sorry, you can't have the word football. It just can't be done that way. I've got 37 players. Okay, that's fine. England are the European champions. Okay, well, isn't England just another word for France? It's okay. So yeah, so England were playing next, and I thought England were going to do well before it started, but then watching the English games, I'm not impressed by them. They haven't actually played as well as what they should be playing. So I don't know. I mean, it's sort of one of those things. Then you've got like Sweden. Looks like they're probably going to be the ones. Actually, Sweden and Spain, I think, are the other ones that are playing, I believe. They're today, I think. So for me, anyway. And what are we going to do? I've just got to go and edit. What am I doing here? Find. Replace. I can only do one thing at a time. So 37, we'll just do a save there. And just go back in. So here we go. So we'll go and do race. What should we play this time? Let's just randomly pick something in through here. We've got 37. We'll go do slippery slopes. Simulation. 37. 38. Actually, I'll put my own name in there as well. Settings. So we'll add names. We'll clear the old list. Open the new list. Add one more. go. That's done. So 38 names. Good luck, everyone. In we go. Okay, so so Battlemo is saying England equals France. Man, so unfair on both countries. England also without their top scorer until the final two, aren't they? I'm not sure, actually. I've got a friend of mine, actually, I haven't spoken to him this week, but I think if he's around, we probably end up watching that together. He's from England. So we always have banter going on about like when there's the Ashes on or anything like that. So, but as I say, Ben will be absolutely insufferable if England get through tomorrow. So let's continue on. Good luck, guys. Here we go. So we'll start the race. Wow, this is a big long one. So he's coming first in through the side. We've got Tarank miles out in front. Miles out in front to come first one through. Oh, it's actually a fair few of them. It is still Tarank. It's got Serenity. We've got Marco, I think, coming back through there. Been able to sort of see it. Yeah, Bubo now coming second. I'll just go back into the second place and we'll just sort of follow it down. So we'll just watch these guys as they sort of come through this little area. Got the baseline. Yep, so there's things tumbling around. Bubo's way out in front. Way out in front now. There's rocks coming down as well. Here we go. Whoa, geez, I think people are going to get dropped off, and yes, we do. We've got our first one has now disappeared, so we'll go back and have a look at a few of the others. There's a lot that are dropping out of here, guys. Sorry about this. Milk Duds, battle mode there. Oh, good. Ben's gone. So we've got Marco back out in front, and Ben is gone. So that's at least we don't have to worry about that one. Sorry, Ben. I know that I know I'm allowed. I know that you don't mind me slagging off at you, and vice versa. Anyway, here we go. So Marco out, a fair way out in front. So Serenity coming through, Tarank coming third, and we now hit this list. Oh, people are going to drop off there. Let's just come back and have a bit more of a look at these others. Is anyone going to drop off at that point? I don't know if they will. So Marco's making his way down. And coming through now. This looks risky. Whoa, okay, they go backwards. Oh no, everyone's making it onto the various tracks. Marco's on the one underneath. Okay, everyone's sort of, I'm not sure what happens in here. Don't know if it waits for everyone to get there, so we're still waiting on Sithel and Sapior. Oh, there we go, Marco's through. Marco is through. You're a long way out in front of everyone else now. But there's still some other challenges on the way. And that's the finish line right there. So I think we'll watch what happens in here. You'd still fall off very, very easily. Just get ready for this. Here comes Marco's run. Here he comes. Straight down. Up. Oh, he's in, and he's won. Okay, well done. So, Marco, you are the winner. Congratulations. You win nothing, but you do get bragging rights. The others will start sort of slowly make their way through. Got Bilko coming through. Yep, Bilko's second. Phobius. Okay, everyone's actually looks like it's. Oh no, everyone's pretty safe in here. No one's actually fallen off. Here comes the rest of the pack now. So, Marco, you were a long way out in front. Long way out in front. Well, look, I want to thank you all for being part of today's session, actually. I didn't have anything to really talk about today, but we've gone for a lot longer than what we normally do. So, thanks for being part of this. It's been great. Here comes Sapior and Sithel. Still making their way through the top of the area, are they? Oh, no, that's the last of them. And everybody's safe. There we go. Well done, Marco. Congratulations. Here we go. Diamond saying woohoo. Congratulations, winner. Now you're the chicken dinner. Yeah, winner, chicken dinner. I thought that was just an Australian ad. Anyway, guys, congratulations. We'll look at the final results. That way we can... actually, what's happening there? I've lost my mouse. Where's the mouse? Sorry guys, I'm not going to be able to do anything with this one. Yeah, I can't actually click on anything, so I'm going to have to just leave it there. I'll have to leave the stream at this point in time. We won't be able to show the DNFs with battle mode's name proudly in amongst that particular illustrious group. But anyway, I'll leave it there, guys. Thanks for watching, and yeah, my apologies, Ben, for the amount of stick that I give you. It's very one-sided being able to be the person that actually can actually do the verbal talking, slacking off at someone that can only type back as fast as he can. Anyway, guys, I'll catch you next week. Thanks for watching, and thanks for being a part of the stream. It really is great with the interaction that you guys provide. So very much appreciate it, and I'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching.